I'm a little rusty on it.
I'll hum it for you.
All right, now we're good. All right, how is everyone doing this evening? Let's do the intro really quickly. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be watching this. My name is Josh and welcome to my channel. On here we talk news, politics, and current events, and play video games sometimes. It is currently August, oh god, what is it? The 22nd, 2023. We got a pretty packed show today. We got a lot of topics to go over. So we gotta move. I'm not gonna say swiftly through everything, but at a brisk enough pace. That being said, if this is your first time here, you should definitely hit the follow button. Like, if you just stumbled on this channel, it's a pretty small channel. If you've got a question of some kind or a inquiry you'd like to make or a critique or something, whatever, always voice that down in the down in the chat. I don't know why I said comments. I think I was thinking of YouTube, but down in the chat and everything else. We got YouTube chat, you got a Twitch chat to interact with, all sorts of fun stuff. But yeah, let me make sure. Oh shit, did I put us in the right thing? Are we how many people? Let's see. No, this one. No, we're going here. Okay, never mind. Oh, what the hell? Oh, that's weird. Okay. Anyway, what do we got today? We're going to take a look. So I saw on Twitter people were freaking the fuck out about COVID. So I want to kind of take a look at what everybody is so triggered about. And then we'll look at what's it called? Let's see. I want to look at after that I want to look at a article from ProPublica about wage theft in New York City. Take a look at Alabama's trans healthcare ruling that might have dire implications going a little bit farther into the future. And then if we have time, I just want to take a look at a quick report from NPR about the Fulton County jurors, basically, and what their experience might look like going forward. And then, when we get around to the legally distinct fun half, we'll do some fun topics. We got some more casual stuff. But let's start with COVID, I guess. So let me take my first sip of the show. So how do I say this? It's going on Twitter today. I notice a prevalence of people really distraught over mask mandates again. I don't know if I've somehow fallen into a hot tub time machine back to 2020, but apparently there are things going on with over on Twitter. People are very upset. Apparently, do not comply. Hashtag do not comply was trending. Politicians need COVID to return because they need mail-in ballots to end the American Republic in 2024. Bears of yeah. This is what I got on, and when I clicked on the trend, I was like, what is bring mask mandates back onto flights months after president insisted pandemic was over? Well, let's be really clear here. He was always lying. COVID never left. There were not cases that just stopped. Oh no, is this? Oh no, it's Warren Buffett. Okay. Would it? Yeah, yep. Oh yeah, gun confiscation. The thing that totally exists in America. Right, got it. Mm-hmm. Kid, you're outside. You can take the Jesus. never do this, never comply. Yeah, it's a lot of people just losing their fucking bananas on Twitter over this. I'm not 100% sure why. Like, you found a video of a kid outside wearing a mask. Also, it's not even over their nose. What is this?
So when will new booster shots
what's going on?
Ann Thompson asked the CDC director.
This summer, most Americans left COVID in the past, gathering together once again mask-free. But tonight, signs of a COVID resurgence. Across the country, COVID hospitalizations jumped more than 14% in the most recent week, but far lower than pandemic levels. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel.
What's behind this uptick in COVID that we're seeing?
The main driver of this is a variant that's relatively newer to the scene, EG5. It's easier to give and get, so that makes it kind of easier to pass along.
It's been almost a year since the last COVID booster came out. CDC Director Dr. Mandy Cohen.
The new COVID booster is expected to be approved by the FDA, and then we will make recommendations from the CDC probably by the second or third week of September.
Will it protect?
So, okay, so let's be clear. So let me be clear here. So I'm understanding the story and why I need to not comply here. It's because there's a new variant. The thing that we always said would be a, what's the word? Like a common occurrence? Something that was always going to happen. Every single year, there are new variants of any of these, like the flu gets a new variant every single year. COVID-19 obviously is getting its, but what's the, I guess I'm a bit just confused as to what's scary about this. It's a new variant. You should get the booster the same way you get the flu vaccine every year.
Protect against this new strain?
Yes. The booster is tailored to what we are seeing circulating now.
Critics say the federal government is behind once again. People.
So, critics say, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Those critics actually are kind of right. But I would say you have a disturbing percent of the population that's kind of is on the opposite spectrum of that one.
There was going to be a COVID resurgence. So why don't we have a booster today? Why do we have to wait until next month?
The way we go about doing just like we do with our flu shots, right? We make sure that we're looking at the ways in which the virus changed. They look at and evaluate that. The FDA is doing its work. We likely will see this as an annual COVID shot, just like the flu shot.
Just in time for fall, when we'll also face RSV. Can you take the flu shot, the COVID booster, and the RSV vaccine all at once?
So for flu and COVID, yes. RSV, again, is only available for older adults. That's one where I'd say talk to your doctor about what's right for you.
So this is the terror that people do not comply. This was why this caught my eye, because I just noticed, like, oh no, like, how could they, guys? God forbid some people who are living through probably the worst, like, doomsday scenario their career has trained them for. They try to get by filming a stupid video on TikTok. Let's all keep that in mind. People got really up in arms about these people doing this on their breaks. This is the only, the length of time that these TikToks lasted was the length of time of their reprieve from putting people fucking packing freezer trucks full of full of dead bodies because there wasn't enough space to house them in the actual hospital. Good God. Yeah, I just the path to fascism. We're on step 2. I love install the app. That one's good. Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious. Ah, yes, Joseph, quoting Joseph Goebbels. Yeah, Got it. Let's ignore, let's ignore the person who actually has a plausible, like, big lie moment in their history. Let's see. Yeah, do not comply with what we've used masks and vaccines throughout history. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. They're encouraging you to follow science. Stop acting like you're oppressed. Oh man, that's fucking funny. What the hell is this? What is this? Stu Peters reporting drive-up terminals at Target.
7, but 24 rollers, brand new construction at Target. What is
Cool.
it for? Not 1, not 3, not 5, not even.
What the fuck even? Wait, it's a drive-up? Yeah, isn't that like a delivery thing?
7, but 24
Drive up what?
brand new drive-up terminals in a town of 16,000 people. What would be the need for that? I'll tell you the need
Capitalism and undermining labor. That's the actual reason.
for that, because they're bringing it back. They're going to bring back draconian lockdowns. They're going to bring back the
Wait. Target has decided to spend some extra money so that they can do more, so that they can service more people by forcing labor to, like, stay outside in the hot ass heat or in the freezing cold, to give you your, like, what is it, curbside pickup. And this guy's like, yep, they're bringing back draconian lockdowns. They're gonna be giving you the jab with your Target purchases now. Like, no, dude, they just want to serve more customers. That's all it is.
the torturous mask mandates in schools, strapping your kids up with a medical device and oxygen.
Medical device.
Inhibiting bacteria-ridden Sharia face muzzle. They're going to bring back...
No, this dude's brain. Oh, no. Is this... Okay, so I have another article that I already pulled, but oh, man, this is oh, man. This is like... this is such a... this is such a great illustration of the mental illness that is conservatism and conservatism's effects on our populace. Like
inhibiting bacteria-ridden Sharia face muzzle, the oxygen with a medical device and oxygen.
A medical device. He's talking about a mask. Keep in mind, he's taught. Where is it? Wait, no, I know we. Yeah, I know we have them in here. He's literally talking about this. He's like, oh, this medical device. It's a mask. It's not a medical device. It's a sanitization one at best. Oh, man. Also, he had to memorize this entire thing. Let's give him a chance here.
Oxygen inhibiting bacteria-ridden Sharia face muzzle.
What was it? Oxygen inhibiting, bacteria emitting. Like, how many times did you have to practice this, Mike? He practiced this. He did the flip. He did it. He went Muslim. Oh, damn it! Oh, God, restart. All right. Why are they doing this? Because like you know that he had to practice this shit. Oh man, dude, the mental illness is strong with this one.
Mandates. They're going to close down churches. They're going to
injection. Can I ask somebody? Were you mandated to get a injection? Can everybody raise their hand as to who was mandated by law? By the way, that you get the COVID vaccine. No, nobody, huh? Right. Yes, because because there's nobody here because I'm a small YouTuber, small Twitch streamer, so you should totally hit the follow button, subscribe button. But also anybody who'd be here would probably talk about, oh, well, my job wouldn't let me keep my job unless I got a vaccine. Yeah, that's not what I asked you. I didn't ask you what your private corporation said to do.
Close down small businesses while these people stay open, and the pharmacies expanded too. Why do you think that is? Rollers.
Capitalism. That's why. No, really. That's the only reason why. The reason why Target and a lot of big retailers got to stay open is mainly because they could service a lot of people with because they're bigger buildings, you have a lot less people huddled together. Like if you have a small business, right? If you have a small store, you can't have a bunch of people congregate in your small store. So like the alternative was, all right, we'll keep Target open and like Walmart open because those are big warehouse stores, big box stores. And, you know, because they're open, people are more spread out and they have the resources to actually, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, service a lot of customers while still keeping a safe distance from people. Like it's, and again, also at the end of the day, these kinds of retail corporations pay for the campaigns and make contributions to political organizations and political PACs. That's why. Do you think mom and pop, you know, the dog supply, like pet supply store, do you think they donate money to the Democratic Party to the point in which even their House representative would take their call? No. That's not how that works. They like, the funny thing about these sorts of people is they always seem to be able to identify problems with capitalism, but somehow are unable to like make the connection. It's like, nope, that has nothing to do with the system we live under. If the masks and vaccines didn't work, why the fuck are they bringing it back? What did you think was gonna happen? Masks and vaccines don't eliminate. We still, oh my goodness. Let's see. Do not comply. Where did the flu go in 2020? I don't know. Maybe it went away because people weren't hanging around each other because everyone had fucking COVID. Like, what's funny is it's like, oh, flu cases dropped off in the year in which everybody went into lockdown and people were around each other. Oh, no shit. Like, yeah. Just announced COVID is a hoax. It's all a psyop. Jesus Christ. They will keep setting fires until you submit to their climate change agenda. What? Okay. Can someone explain this? Can somebody really explain this for me? Because I don't understand this. Who is at the core? Who stands to make money? What's the benefit? I am a proponent of climate change, right? I believe climate change is real because every scientific metric tells us it is. And I also believe that we should be curbing like greenhouse gas and fossil fuel emissions to lessen the impact of climate change on our species and pretty much the world writ large. What do I gain from that? Like, why would I want forests to burn? I want forests to be plentiful. I don't like when people cut down forests. Why would I burn down? Well, it just, none of it makes it. Like, the funny thing is, it's always like, oh, how does any of this connect? How does any of it make any sense? Oh, it doesn't. It's just really random conspiratorial stuff. They keep allowing looting of shops until you submit to electronic IDs and facial surveillance. Does this dumbass know that we already have facial surveillance? That's already a thing. That's already a thing. They don't need electronic IDs. They already have facial recognition software in every, like, we already know this. Snowden already revealed this to all of us. They'll keep creating pandemics until you submit to medical slavery. Why? No explanation, because this is all of this is fucking brainworms. That's all this is. Complete and utter brainworms. What is this? It is 2020. Other Australian store owners are beaten and arrested for telling customers not to wear masks. Am I about to see somebody get beat?
Shoved in the police truck, then Mark! Oh! He's arrested too.
Fucking eat shit. How about that? What is this? Is this an actual picture? This looks photoshopped as hell. Biden's administration urged all Americans to get coronavirus booster shot now. All right, so let's go actually take a look at the what's it called? Biden administration to urge Americans to get COVID-19 boosters. Whoa, amazing. The Biden administration plans to urge all Americans to get a booster shot for the coronavirus this autumn to counter a new wave of infections, a White House official said on Sunday. The official said that while the centers of, the CDC are reporting an increase in infections, the hospital admissions from the virus overall levels remain low. On Thursday, Moderna said initial data showed its updated COVID-19 vaccine is effective against the Eris, and Fornax subvariants in humans. Moderna and the other COVID-19 vaccine makers, Novavax, Pfizer, and German partner BioNTech, whatever, had created versions of their shots aimed at the XBB 1.1.5 subvariant. Pending approval from health regulators in the United States and Europe, the companies expect the updated shots to be available in the coming weeks for the autumn vaccination season. We will be encouraging, quote, we will be encouraging Americans to get those boosters in addition to the flu shots and RSV shots. So that's it. All of that hysteria. Like, this isn't a long article, guys. This is it. This is this is all that is. And this is what people are losing their fucking minds over. There's hardly anything here. They've announced that they're going to tell people, hey, it'd be a good idea to get your flu shots. Get your shots, people. And like, this is what activates a bunch of people. But like, we kind of know this a little bit. Because apparently a third of Americans, or at least a third of adults, believe vaccine caused thousands of sudden deaths. So, belief and misinformation about key health issues persists among a good chunk of adults, with false claims about COVID-19, vaccines, and reproductive health garnering a substantial amount of support. A poll released Tuesday by KFF has found. When did this get posted, by the way? 22nd? Oh, that's cool. Earlier today. That's what I thought. Okay, cool. Whether or not they believe the claims, nearly all participants in the survey were aware of the misinformation, with 96% saying they had heard at least one of the 10 claims presented to them. The most widespread misinformation claims had to do with the COVID-19 and vaccines. The new polling data found that a third of adults believed the COVID-19 vaccines, quote, caused thousands of sudden deaths in otherwise healthy people. Hello again, Nova. How are you today? With 10% believing that claim to be definitely true, 23% saying it was probably true, another 34% saying it was probably false, and 31% said the claim was definitely false. Oh, I can't complain. It's another week. Ooh, what's this? Which of these Republican presidential candidates do you personally support right now? None. Following. Use cookies to collect. You see? Yeah, they want to collect my data. So let's see. Definitely true. 10%. Jesus. What is that? 33%? Yeah, so a third. Yeah, it's about a third. Nearly a third of people also said they believe the parasitic deworming medication ivermectin, are we really still on this, was a quote effective treatment for COVID-19. Among the naysayers, 44% said the claim was probably false, and 22% said it was definitely false. Oh, Jesus. Cookie data baiting every time. Health experts and clinicians have repeatedly stressed that there is no evidence that ivermectin has any efficacy in treating or preventing COVID-19 infections, and the Food and Drug Administration has never authorized a drug for use in treating the coronavirus. You know, I distinctly remember, wasn't there like a whole debate? Oh no, stop that. Wasn't there a whole debate about like, the FDA hasn't approved the COVID vaccines, or it wasn't approved in a proper way. And then if you respond, oh yeah, that might be true, but they also didn't do that for ivermectin. But the people who are proponents of ivermectin are like, well, that's because they're not being truthful. And it's like, okay, which one is it? Is like, do you trust the FDA or do you not trust the FDA? Like, in the same poll, roughly a quarter of people said they believed vaccinations against measles, mumps, and rubella cause autism in children, and that COVID-19 vaccines cause infertility. Okay, so this is the what's the anti-vax? I'm just gonna do Facebook. Like, this is the classic. If you've seen this, you've been on the internet for a long time. Where the fuck is it? Is it up there? Here, thank you. Almost immediately. Lovely. Oh my God, that's a shit picture. But you see yeah. This is how many vaccines you give your kids. Da 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 da. Can I find the non-shitty picture version of this? Oh, here we go. No, seriously. Okay, thank you. Jesus. Yeah, like this is a lot of people's brain on when it comes to medicine. Like, I don't trust the FDA, but it's more with them seemingly with them. Oh yeah, absolutely. The data, the data that the FDA provides us with, and not the regulations, but the oversight could absolutely be stronger. But there's nothing to ever support that the data is incorrect. It's always like, oh well, they're working hand in hand with these pharmaceutical companies. That's why they're pushing the vaccines. Like, yeah, they've been doing that for a couple decades now. That's how our system works. You're like what they're complaining about is the system that we have for healthcare in this country and how tied in it is with our regulatory bodies. But like, that's not like, if that was an actual critique, if that was an actual concern of those people, they would have been making this argument decades ago, the same way most leftists has been making it for basically all of my life. Like, it's disingenuous from them. But yeah, this is most Americans that I experience, where they're like, oh my God, can you believe, like, look how scary this is. And it's unfortunate, but roughly a quarter of people said they believe the vaccines cause infertility. Oh my God. Autism been shown in the COVID-19 vaccines cause infertility. No evidence has so far been found to indicate that immunization against the coronavirus affects male or female fertility. Oh, raise your hands if you experienced some of that, because we did. A certain family member of not me definitely did warn us about infertility. Was a thing. What's funny too is, like, I'm pretty sure you could look up like the birth rates, or you could, like, we could go right now and look how many people were born within that like 9-month period of the vaccine rolling out, or at least, 9 months after, obviously, and you wouldn't see any kind of like stark jump, or at least I'd have to be convinced that it's there. I haven't looked it up. I haven't done it, but like, I feel like if you really wanted to make this claim, I would have heard about that specific data point. The claims that vaccines cause autism has long been refuted. Several studies, including one in Sweden published in 2020, that followed children exposed to flu vaccinations for several years, have found no link between the vaccinations and autism. The British physician Andrew Wakefield, who originated the claim, has since been barred from practicing medicine in the UK, and the 1998 study that he conducted that linked autism to vaccination has been deemed fraudulent. Regarding reproductive health, about a third of the survey participants said they believe sex education would lead to teens being more sexually active, and also that birth control, the pill, or IUDs make it harder for women to get pregnant after they stop using those methods. Even larger shares of the participants believed in misinformation having to do with gun violence, with 60% saying they believed, quote, armed school police guards have been proven to prevent school shootings. It hasn't. A 2021 analysis of 133 school shootings of 133 school shootings from 1980 to 2019 found that armed school police officers were present in nearly a quarter of school shootings included in the study were not associated with a significant reduction in gun injuries. There were 42% another 42% said they believe people who have firearms in their homes are less likely to be killed by a gun than people without guns in the homes. In fact, the opposite has been observed with a 2022 analysis of California adults from 2004 to 16, finding that overall homicide rates were more than 2 times higher among people who lived with gun owners than those who didn't. Whew, that's a lot of information. I think we understand this. You educate your kids about sex. There's not going to be, there's not going to be some increase into sexual activity. It's just going to be an increase in safe sexual activity. Birth controls and everything else doesn't be shown. There's never been evidence in that. The armed police one I find is funny because people always say, "Oh, we need to harden schools. If we make schools a harder place to whatever." Like, what people don't understand is if you're like a school resource officer or even a school security officer, you're not really like, you're around a bunch of kids and usually just kind of hanging out a lot of the times. What's going to inevitably happen is there's going to be like a kid who come traipsing in with their firearm, and like, just all they have to do is catch you off guard, and that's it. It's over. and then they can take your weapon and kill more people with it. Like, there's just, they're like, you know, ask any Call of Duty player. The presence of other people with guns around is not a deterrent. It's just a challenge to overcome. There were very few anti-vaccine protests in Ireland. They were as rare as seeing a dobo bird. I don't even know what kind of a dobo. What the hell is a dobo bird? Now I'm curious. What is a dobo bird? Ooh, no. That's not. No, stop. Is that a dobo bird? What is this? Oh, dodo. Is this? Yeah, one of these. Yeah, the things from what's it called? Things from Animal Crossing. Yeah, where's Wait, what? Norwegian announcement. Oh, no, not that. Animal Crossing. I was like, wait, is this a real thing? Where is it? Yeah. The boy. Yeah, the boy. You know, he's not extinct in my heart. The boy. Anyway, let's finish this up. Well, these results indicate a sizable minority of adults believe in... Also, okay, can we talk about this? 1/3 of Americans. You know who else is 1/3 of Americans? Fucking Republicans and Trump supporters. I don't think that's a far stretch to say we might see a meaningful overlap between those two groups. While these results indicate a sizable minority of adults believe in disproven claims about health, KFF noted that the rate of people who believe them to be definitely true was small overall, and the majority of people fell in what the organization referred to as malleable middle, merely being unsure about most of the claims presented to them. KFF found that certain groups were more susceptible to misinformation than others, including those with lower levels of educational attainment, those who identify as Republican, as well as Black and Hispanic adults. Also people who live in lower educational attainment regions. The KFF Health Misinformation Tracking Poll pilot that was conducted from May 23rd to June 12th. Posters included 2007 adults in a survey, and the results have a margin of error, plus or minus 3 percentage points. Okay, interesting. But, so, you know, I don't really have... it's just, I don't really know what to say in moments like this, because we have kind of the answers, right? We have enough science, I think, to back up a lot of our decisions and influencing enough of the decision makers, to the point that, like, I think a lot of these people, especially, and I'm going to speak especially to Republicans, because that's just who we see a lot of this with. There seems to be this innate ability with that voter base to disconnect from reality. I would chalk a lot of that up to Fox News, to right-wing talk radio in the 90s, to Alex Jones in the 2000s and 2010s, to Donald Trump in 2016, to, let's be honest, the absolute malaise that is late-stage capitalism. There are a lot of factors that I think bear down on the Republican mind that just turn them into these just ludicrous, insane, disconnected, untrusting, what's the word? Like, paranoid kind of people. And it's sad to see. It's unfortunate. I don't like to see people who are like this, but I'm running out of, I think, faith that there's something that you could say to them to snap them out of this. So frequently do I talk with people who might be able to, agree with me on a few premises, and might, agree with me on, I think our healthcare system is super broken here in the United States. The ability for people to find gainful employment, and also the ability for people to find affordable housing, or just housing in general, has gotten really bad over the last, I don't know, 30 to 40 years. Like, I can find people who will be able to identify and come to some kind of agreement on that. But like, the minute we start agreeing, it feels like, sometimes it feels like, I don't know if you guys have ever felt this before. It feels like they're looking for things to disagree with you on. There's an exchange with a chatter up on the YouTube channel. There's a I have a video on there where it's a bit of a longer video, but it's really just an exchange between me and frequent chatter Sensible Center. And the thing that frustrated me in that conversation a lot of the times was, I can say a lot of stuff and explain how I see systems working and how, you know, this explanation makes sense to me. And I can come to an explanation of almost everything. And we both can come to the agreeance of like, oh, this thing that is happening is bad. But like, there's always this like, but what about, but you support pronouns. And I just, and I find myself just like, wanting to fucking like almost falling out of my chair, because they just want to disagree all the time. I don't know what it is. There's just this drive or whatever. I don't know if it's just being a contrarian. I don't know if it's just this conservative need to always try to be right in some kind of way. Like, we could agree on 10 things, but they must like disagree on the 11th and make that a strong challenge. Like, I don't get it. And I feel like that's what we see. Part of me thinks that might just be how that party has programmed its voters, that they always need to be oppositional, even for something that will improve their lives. I don't know. It's just, I'm rambling a bit. It's just frustrating. We Europeans all have a laugh at Americans. Sorry to say, I don't blame you. It seems like utter madness over there, especially when Trump came into power. In the first place, to be fair, literally everyone wants to be right. Yeah, I mean, I realize that. Like, it's just, everyone always wants to be right. And I just feel like, you know, if it, like, I really try to do this. I try not to always be right in a traditional kind of way. You know, it's going to be hard for me to explain this. But, like, at least for me, I try to be as ideologically consistent. And, like, if I'm wrong on, like, something, I don't know. I can't think of, like, something. Not because I'm never wrong, although I never am. Just I can't really think of a good example. But, like, to me, it's always like, as someone who tries to always ground critique in like structures and not, you know, get too obsessed with like with people, with like individuals. Even that stuff is fun, and pundits I like going in on. But like, for regular people, I think it's important to recognize that they're kind of just trying to make it through the day as well. I don't know. It's just, everyone wants to be right, and that is true. I don't know. I feel like the impulse from the right is so much stronger towards that. There's just this need that I observe from them when I interact with them. I don't know. But like I said, I might be on an island of my own on that one. But either way, right. Wage theft. Okay. Have you heard of wage theft? You've probably heard of retail theft. You've probably heard of time theft. But something that I don't think gets the same kind of attention is wage theft. The reason for that is rather simple, because the people who own businesses, the managers, the people with power in any kind of, private business, are the ones who get to set the rules. That is kind of how it works, unfortunately. Businesses are rather authoritarian in that way. And because they get to set the rules, they emphasize time theft, they emphasize retail theft, and de-emphasize and usually go pretty quiet when you want to bring up wage theft. So I want to take a look at this article from ProPublica, going over what is it? 127,000 New York workers that have been victimized by wage theft. You could argue as progress slowly ticks forward, the Republicans might be getting threatened or something. Feel like that. No, like that's definitely part of it. That's definitely part of it. Throughout my life, the rhetoric has only gotten more hyperbolic, and it already started hyperbolic. You go back. I always try to mention talk radio in the 90s, mainly because I'm old, but also because I personally believe that you can track. As much as we can kind of track, I think, a lot of legislative woes and a lot of legislative trends back to the Reagan administration and neoliberalism in the 80s and 90s, as much as I think you can do that. On the, I think, voter end of it, on the, like, influence on voters, I think 90s talk radio, Mark Levin, Rush Limbaugh, there's like another one, Don Imus, these sorts of characters are the people who spoke directly every single morning to people like my father, who was a Republican Party voter, basically all of his life, and fed him news like before he even got to work. Like, these people set the stage for a lot of this stuff. And I do think, and like, they were hyperbolic then, and that's only like bled into mainstream Republican Party politics. Like they definitely, they feel like the world is coming to an end. They feel like it's why like Ben Shapiro and a lot of these other guys always do this Western civilization thing, because Western civilization is so broad, so vague, but it's like something to name that people recognize, or at least have their own understanding of, that they're supposed to defend. Like, you're not in the military, so like, how can you attain valor if you're just some fuck on Twitter or something? Like, how do you attain valor if, it's all of these guys also trying to chase masculinity to a degree. There's a lot to it. It's just, but yeah, it's a lot of chasing valor, I think. But it's also just a lot of propaganda, and it's a lot of programming, I think. But anyway, let's do it. Right. New York City workers, or I guess this is just New York. It doesn't say New York City. New York workers, wage theft, everything I said before. Let's go. But their solution is to do some pretty shit. Yeah, really. Most of the time, yeah. Their truth ends up, they'll always identify a problem and then veer off horribly when it comes to the solution. Or they'll propose a solution that just isn't up to the task, or would just worsen the actual problem. Right. I didn't even transition yet. Look at me. Look at this this is good artwork right here. I like this. Where is it? An analysis of federal and state databases sheds new light on the prevalence and scale of wage theft in New York restaurants and other industries, placing the total wages stolen in one 5-year period at more than $203 million. So next time your boss complains to you about time theft. For Marcelino Zapoteco, I don't know what voice I'm doing, by the way. I'm doing an accent. I don't know which one. Just move on. The final straw came on a quiet night in 2018 at the restaurant Brioso on Staten Island. He was working alongside one of the managers who had pulled in by the restaurant's co-owner, Pietro Peter DiMaggio, to help as a waiter. At one point during the shift, Zapoteco watched the manager slip tip money into his pocket when he was supposed to pull it to be shared with others. Zapoteco, an undocumented immigrant from Mexico, said he knew that the restaurant was grossly underpaying him during the more than 7 years he worked there. When he served as a runner, bringing food to customers' tables, he received as little as $10 for lunch and dinner shifts, far below the required minimum wage, even when tips were included, he said. But that night, when he saw the manager pocketing the tip, Zapoteco had enough. A few days later, he and his co-workers went to DiMaggio and complained, but to no avail. Quote, "If you guys don't like me or don't like Brioso, the door is over there." DiMaggio told them, according to the state investigators report, which included told them, according to a state investigator's report, which included a transcript of a recording of that conversation. Zapateco quit and made his way to the offices of the New York State Department of Labor in Manhattan the next day, telling an investigator about what happened. I explained to her everything that was going on. She said, don't worry, we're going to investigate. We're going to help you. Every year in New York State, thousands of workers face predicaments similar to that of Zapateco's and his former Brioso co-workers. From 2017 through 2021, federal and state investigators found more than 13,000 cases of wage theft, according to an analysis of 2 databases obtained from the U.S. and New York labor departments. The databases provided previously unreported details on how much money has been stolen from workers and also shed light on which businesses have committed wage theft. Occasionally, these shit Italian accent. But yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. I don't, for the record, I don't know what accents I'm doing. Just don't ask me to do. There's a few that I've been told I can do. There's a few I've been told I can do. I've been told I can do a Russian accent. I don't know how true that is, or if people are fucking with me. I have no idea how good my British is. Italian, I'm assuming is fine, but I feel like I'm just trying to do a like South American accent, and I end up in the Mediterranean. I don't know how that happens, but it is what it is. Database provide previously in all federal and state every year near. Oh, I already read that already. Okay, cool. In all, federal and state investigators determined during the 5-year period that more than $203 million in wages had been stolen from about 127,000 workers in New York, the analysis shows. The amount of wage theft is almost certainly a significant undercount. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, in 2014, for instance, the agency analyzed census and employment data to compare the reported wages of New York workers against what they should make under local minimum wage. And it estimated that state employers steal up to $1 billion from their workers every year. Federal and state investigators determined that more than $52 million had been stolen from people working in restaurants, more than in any other industry in New York, accounting for more than 25% of all reported wage theft, the analysis shows. Yeah, I can't say that's super shocking, especially in the restaurant industry. You know what the the biggest excuse I hear, like I work in kitchens. I'm a food service worker. And you know what I hear like constantly? The thing that I never, that fucking restaurant owners, managers, any of those people never shut the fuck up about is their goddamn margins. I always got to hear, oh, we're working on thin margins, working on thin margins, working on thin margins. And like, I'm not saying that I think they're lying, but I'm kind of saying I think they're full of shit. Like, because it's every fucking time, every excuse is always our margins are thin. But then, like, you know, they pull up the next week at work and they've got a brand new car or a Tesla or some other like expensive ass, like, a commodity that they've got going that they don't need. And it's always like, you know, same with their house, same with a bunch of other stuff. It's always, you always look and you're like, you say that the margins are thin, but like you're living a distinctly different life than me. And obviously this isn't for everybody, but when I talk to, as like a one-to-one example, when I talk to my boss when I work on a food truck and they want to tell me about the thin margins, meanwhile, they take 5 months out of the year, every year, and don't work. They've paid off their mortgage in 2 years since starting the business. They're planning on buying hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of a car. I think they wanted to get the Cybertruck or whatever. And I don't believe that's retail yet, but their assumption is that it's worth like $100,000 or something. And they're like, yeah, we're getting that. And we're going to, use it as, was it business expenses? When we all know that business expenses just means, oh yeah, I use it for business, 2 days out of the week and then for home every other day. Or even if it's like, I use it for work all day, but then I also use it for living every single other day. Like, and it's all like, I always notice that. I'm always just like, are the margins thin? And are the margins thin because you're taking too much take home pay? Could that possibly be the reason why? I don't know. unless it is not intentional. Wage theft was also a problem in the healthcare industry, $28.4 million. Construction, 27.6. 27.6. Janitorial services and retail stores, 5.9 million. And supermarkets and convenience stores, 5.8 million. Really? Well, I guess supermarkets and convenience stores. I guess that makes sense. But construction, 27. State-to-state comparisons of wage theft are difficult because of how data is collected locally. But an analysis of cases reported to the U.S. Department of Labor and substantiated by federal investigators show that New York ranked 8th highest in the amount of back wages owed per worker. Yeah, that makes sense. You're going to see a lot of this, by the way, in the in cities, just because that's a lot of people living there. That, you know, in cities, that's also why the what's it called? Fuck, what am I thinking? Is that what it was? Oh, I guess healthcare industry is worse. No, wait. 52 million stolen from people working restaurants. Oh yeah, that's also why restaurants is the worst of all those. That's what it was. Just because you have so many restaurants packed into cities. Advocates say that the federal and state agencies are failing to stamp out wage theft and that they have little faith in the agency's ability to protect workers' livelihoods. Wage theft is not taken seriously as a crime by the system. It's not by the New York State law enforcement groups or the elected leaders of our state. Oh my goodness, said Joanne Loom, executive director of the National Mobilization Against Sweatshops and New York-based workers' rights organization. That's a fucking mouthful. How are working people who are working so hard expected to survive if it's okay to have their wages stolen? And also, again, keep in mind, there's a reason why. The healthcare industry, construction. I don't know about, retail stores, certainly. But there's also a reason why, those industries get away with this. And it's because, and say it with me now, they all donate to super PACs, which fund campaigns. You don't donate to campaigns in a relevant enough capacity, you can't. You and I can only donate, I think the limit is $2,500 to any political campaign. Walmart, your local hospital, a bunch of the restaurant owners who come together under I forget what fucking group it is. There's like a lobbying group for like restaurant owners. They all pool together their money and then hand that over to campaigns so that they can so that they'll listen to their issues and listen to their perspective on stuff. Meanwhile, our perspective doesn't get heard. Nobody hears me saying this, but Brandon don't come to me for this kind of stuff. Joe doesn't call me. As much as I may, I'm a Biden guy over here. I'm not a Trump guy over here. But like, Joe don't call me and ask me, hey Josh, how's the kitchens doing? I don't know what voice. I feel like I'm doing New York, some New York guy. I don't know if that's Joe Biden. He's from fucking Delaware. I don't know how to do his voice. But like, he doesn't call me and go, why am I doing a fucking whatever? Now, how's the restaurant industry? Are they treating you well? And I go, no, of course they're not. We're getting like shit hours, shit pay, busting our asses, breaking our backs. My wrist is destroyed from flipping a million burgers and making a million pizzas. I'm constantly around dangerous chemicals, everything else in between. He doesn't do that. He gets into contact with the restaurant owners lobbying group, and they tell him, hey, our workers are kind of being a pain in the ass. Could you guys, just not pass a higher minimum wage because everything else. Yeah, it's just. They don't take my calls. Italian American. Is he? He might be. Why, man? All of my voices just go to Italians. I don't know why that is. I feel like that was distinctly different though from the other. I feel like that Italian was like, fucking Super Mario in like in Brooklyn sort of Italian, not whatever, not like Italian in the Mediterranean. I've only met a few. Actually, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. I have met a couple Italians from the Mediterranean. Good God. Advocates say at the federal state agencies, yeah, we know. Wage theft is not taken seriously. Okay, yeah. Hildelin Colon Hernandez. Good God. Colon Hernandez, Deputy Director of New Immigrant Community Empowerment. God, can we stop with all these group names that are like a bajillion the words long, please? A New York-based worker advocacy organization said, why can't we just have like Better Life for Workers, or can we just have that? New Immigrant Community Empower. Oh, Jesus Christ. And said employers, quote, employers are operating with no consequences. One of the reasons, she said, is that the federal and state agencies haven't fully adapted to the changing business landscape, with technology and the so-called gig economy complicating the employer-employee relationship. That makes wage theft even harder to address. Colon Hernandez added that her organization now trains its employees on how to investigate wage theft because it would take too long if they had to rely on federal and state investigators to recover back wages. The U.S. Department of Labor did not respond to requests for comment. Aaron Cagwin, whatever, spokesperson of the State Department of Labor, highlighted his agency's work with the Wage Theft Task Force, a collaboration with the State Attorney General's Office and other law enforcement agencies that began in 2015. Last year, Governor Kathy Hochul announced that the task force had secured felony convictions of 9 employers for a variety of charges, from defrauding the New York State Insurance Fund to falsifying business records and failing to pay wages. 9, not 9,000, not 9% of the people who do this. 9, flat 9. Jesus Christ. What did they find? 127,000 workers? Like, Jesus. Cagwin said his agency uses, quote, every resource available to protect New Yorkers, ensure workers are paid that they're owed, and hold bad actors accountable. You could have gotten those 9 workers from like one fucking restaurant. It's like, yeah, we found, like, oh my God. Or no, sorry, it was 9 people got convicted. So yeah, 9 total restaurants. Wow. That's like a quarter block in New York City. Let's see. Frank, what is it? Okay. Frank A. Oswald, a lawyer for the owners of Brioso, said his clients disputed the wage theft allegations made by Zapateco and other former workers. He noted that the owners eventually agreed to settle the civil lawsuit that the former workers filed against them, and that was because of the Chapter 11 bankruptcy that the restaurant filed, quote, due to exorbitant costs of the wage litigation in the district court that threatened to put the restaurant out of business. Okay, so let's be really clear here. They agreed to settle to give them wages that they stole because the litigation was the cost of the litigation was too exorbitant. So they declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and now all of their debts are dispersed. And now what? The owners of that restaurant can go, you know what happens to them? They become workers again. But none of their restaurants gone. Okay. They're like, business is gone, okay, but none of their funds are touched, meaning they get to keep everything else because of all of this. It's fucking ridiculous. In 2018, and what's worse is they could have not disputed it, paid the settlement and called it a day, but they wanted to fight it. Idiots. In 2018, the lawyer representing the Brioso's owners at the time also wrote to a state investigator claiming that Zapateco quit his job not because of wage theft, but because of a disagreement over payment method. Real difference there. Zapateco, the lawyer wrote, insisted on being paid in cash instead of through an automatic payroll system. Zapateco denied the allegation. Yeah, why would he need to get paid cash? He can get paid through a normal payroll system. That's not, yeah. Zapateco moved to New York City from the Mexican state of Guerrero in 2009 in search of work and education opportunities. A year later, he began working at Brioso after a cousin who had been living in the city told him about the job. Zapateco became a busser, taking dirty plates to the kitchen. He was soon promoted to runner, wow, after a worker in that role quit. Throughout his time in the restaurant, Zapateco said he experienced wage theft. Carlos Ortiz, a state investigator assigned to the case, detailed in reports obtained by Documents and ProPublica a number of ways DiMaggio stole money from his workers. DiMaggio deducted 5% of their tips, quote, supposedly to pay for the computer system. Oh, yes, I've heard of this. Yeah, So you might see some of this sometime in small businesses where they'll take a little bit off the top of like your wage or the top of your maybe like your tip pool or whatever to go toward it's kind of like the equivalent of you using okay, you know what it's similar to? It's similar to how when you buy a concert ticket on the internet through Ticketmaster, there's like the ticket price and then there's like the convenience fee. And that's what these guys are charging. They're charging a convenience fee for you to be paid in some weird particular way. Even though like paying for a computer system isn't a extra cost associated with like somebody's pay, like that's a business cost. If you buy a computer, you pay for internet through your like at your business, you most likely are writing that bill off every single year in taxes. So like the fact that they're taking it through this system through like a different means that they're already writing off that computer system through taxes. I mean, they're getting all the money to do that as an expense, and then there's pocketing the extra 5% every time. And sometimes took more in certain circumstances, such as when customers complain about their food, a form of wage theft under New York law. Ortiz also found that DiMaggio made some workers buy uniforms and pay for broken plates, another form of wage theft. Again, if you have a uniform, a lot of restaurants usually don't require a uniform. The only thing they'll ask you to wear is like specific colors. So, you know, for us at like most restaurants I've worked at, usually it's black. Usually they're like, just wear like a black shirt. Wear, they need to be pants. You need to wear non-slips. And they'll usually just buy aprons. They usually just buy like, you can get a service that'll bring you aprons every single week, like clean ones. So the only thing that they'll require you to do is wear the apron, right? And since they already provide that one's pretty easy. But there are places that will say, oh, you need to wear a uniform for this or this, but then try not to pay you for that uniform, even though that technically is supposed to be an expense by the business. If there is a uniform, you are to provide it because it is a requirement to the job and it's something that you're supposed to invest in. Same goes for what was the other one that they just listed? The uniforms pay for broken plates. Yeah, same with broken plates. If you have broken plates, which absolutely happens in restaurants, that's not your workers' responsibility to replace. That is supposed to come out of the business's funds. That is a business expense. But again, they're going to do that. They're going to buy the plates, write it off as a business expense, but they're going to charge workers so that they don't have to incur that, or it doesn't have to come out of the owner's actual take-home pay. That's also the thing that they want to avoid. Labor experts say wage theft is prevalent in the restaurant industry because its workforce is heavily made up of undocumented immigrants. Also a good reason why we should offer these people citizenship, who are less willing to speak up because of their status. More than 60% of restaurant workers living in New York City are immigrants, according to a 2020 study at the New York State Comptroller's Office. Of the 800,000 workers in the industry, 44% were Hispanic and 20% were Asian, the study found. At Brioso, Ortiz found that the workers' immigration status left them exposed. When one employee complained about stolen tips, for instance, DiMaggio responded by threatening to report the employee to the immigration authorities, slamming tables, and then firing them. So this is also like when people talk about the effect that immigrants have on the workforce. This is the effect. This is what they get to live through, because guys like this DiMaggio character doesn't want to hire American workers who by law have to make a certain wage, and people who you can't unfairly coerce to work for poor wages and be threatened with immigration action. Essentially, these bosses go, look, I'm going to hire a bunch of illegal workers. They're all going to work for me for shit wages. And if any of them get uppity, I'm going to threaten to kick them out of the country. That's how this works. That is like, who is like, and Americans will turn around and go and blame immigrants and blame like people who come to this country for that relationship, for taking our jobs. You've heard the old, like, I am sure you've heard they took our jobs. The immigrants were taking our jobs. No, what's happening is these guys are fucking exploiting these workers in their situation instead of giving you a job. None of these owners want to pay Americans with full wages and benefits. They just don't want to do it. They would prefer to hire illegal immigrants or immigrants in general, who that they can then threaten with their immigration status, so that they can keep their wages low, so they themselves can take home higher wages every single week. That's the entire reason. It's the entire reason we have the problem we have. And people say, like, oh, well, if we just got rid of the immigrants, go look at Florida. You get rid of if you mandate that all of these companies, the business owners, if you mandate all of them, none of them can use illegal immigrants anymore. You know what they're going to do? They're going to run into shortages, and they're going to rely on what little staff they have left that's legal to keep the train running as best as it can. Because again, at the end of the day, they don't want American workers. They don't want to have to pay benefits. So this is what you do. You make the immigration process rather simple. You make the penalties for, being undocumented just a little bit less intense. You make the relationship not nearly as predatory as it currently is. And, when those people were able to get citizenship, I'd be fine with just giving all legal immigrants in this country citizenship. I got really no problem with that. All you do is do that, and guess what? Overnight, all of those workers are now legalized. Every single one of those business owners now has to pay all their workers. You have now equalized every worker in the country. You don't have this second tier of under the table labor. That's how you actually compound some of this. And obviously, in the meantime, since that's not going to happen, I understand that that's not realistic and that's rather simplistic. But what we can do in the meantime, the realistic thing you do, is you just come down hard on these people. You just tell them you need to pay proper wages. If we catch you doing this shit, litigation's going to be the least of your problems. And when the consequences don't outweigh the risks, they're not consequences. And the consequences of you using illegal labor, of abusing that legal labor, are unexistent. Let's see. Mr. DiMaggio would make statements to the Hispanic employees such as, quote, "I'll personally make sure that you all get sent back to Mexico," or "Thank God that Trump is doing everything possible." Yeah, and you can tell who these people vote for. Everything possible to get you guys the fuck out of here. Keep in mind, what's hilarious about this is this guy resents these people. Like, oh, I want you to leave even though my business relies on your incredibly cheap labor. In New York, the state's minimum wage rules can also work against restaurant employees. The normal wage is $14.20 to $15 an hour, but it's $9.45 to $10 for food service workers. That should not be different, by the way. There absolutely should not be state mandated differences in this kind of way. With the requirement for their employers to make up the rest if tips don't cover the difference. This creates a complex system that makes it easy to exploit workers, said Teofilo Reyes, Chief Program Officer for Restaurant Opportunity Center United, a national organization advocating for better pay. Oh my God, Jesus, all of these with the long names. Elizabeth Jones, co-legal director at Make the Road New York, an immigrant rights organization, said the wage theft is essentially, quote, the business model for restaurants. It is. Some places are exploring banning the two-tiered minimum wage system entirely. That would also solve a lot of the problems. DC, for instance, voted in November to phase out the system by 2027, but no similar measures have been. Oh yeah, DC's another big one. DC's a huge fucking immigrant hub. Like, so many Ethiopians, so many Chinese immigrants. It's great. It's amazing food, but yeah, it's pretty bad. Like restaurant employees, experts say construction workers in New York often experience wage theft, given that the industry also employs a high number of undocumented immigrants. About 1,600 construction companies, including ones that specialize in carpentry, electrical work, and iron work, as well as general contractors, were found to have stolen wages from more than 7,700 New York workers from 2017 through 2021, the analysis shows. Healthcare workers, including nurses and employees at hospitals and nursing homes, faced about as much waste theft as construction workers, the analysis shows. Loom, the national mobilization against sweatshops, said the unique working conditions for many healthcare workers make them vulnerable to wage theft. For instance, home healthcare aides who had the highest amount of wage theft found by federal and state investigators among all professions in the industry often had to work 24-hour shifts, but are not paid for breaks built into the schedule for eating and sleeping. Loom said this payment structure rarely reflects the reality that patients need care at odd hours of the night, meaning workers are on call continuously. When they try to report that they don't sleep, then they're ignored and retaliated against or even punished. Some members of the National Mobilization Against Sweatshops were involved in arbitration claims filed in 2019 against 42 home health care companies, alleging that they underpaid more than 100,000 workers in New York. In February, an arbitrator rewarded a $30 million fund paid for by the companies to compensate the workers. And again, it's always like, all right, it was worth $30 million. How much did they get out of that? If it doesn't outweigh it, it's not a consequence. Some workers are unhappy with the outcome and say that they are owed as much as $6 billion. Loom said that the arbitrator's ruling amounts to a slap on the wrist for the companies. It sends a message to the employers that you can continue doing what you're doing. Let's see. Oh yes, the classic threaten immigrants so they stop talking trick. Oh yeah, it's in Pokemon terms super effective. Trade unions would come in handy. Absolutely. And yeah, like more unionization would also help with this. Nova also makes a really good point. That's like probably if we're talking about the longest term solution to this, unionization is going to be it. Because you don't want to see your fellow worker. Like if you're already working in a place that's unionized, you don't want your work undermined by, somebody who might be undocumented, but you also like work with that person and you probably don't want to see their life be so complicated doing the same work you do. So just that camaraderie and solidarity, I think. Also unions show, there's an argument that unions also reduce racism. So there's also that. Because when you're working around people of different ethnic groups and different backgrounds, you tend to kind of assimilate with them and you see them not as, some illegal immigrant who's taking our jobs and more just as, your coworker. In September 2018, 7 months after Zapatero quit his job and went to the New York State Department of Labor, the agency's investigators visited the restaurant and interviewed several workers. Several months later, as the investigation continued, the Brioso employee called Ortiz, complaining that he and his co-workers had been subjected to retaliatory actions by DiMaggio. The employee, quote, alleges that Mr. DiMaggio has always yelled at and intimidated the employees, but has become more aggressive since the department's visit. The agency eventually reached out to Make the Road New York to see if it could help protect the workers. Jordan said Make the Road took the case after learning that it was, quote, one of the worst cases in terms of conditions that we've seen. Okay, criminal convictions for wage theft are rare, but the district attorney's office initially expressed interest in pursuing the case. District attorney's office interviewed several Brioso workers. Okay, this is okay. Meanwhile, concurrency with the criminal investigation by the department attorney's office, the Department of Labor investigators were still working to recover back wages from Brioso, but Zapatero and his former co-workers had heard nothing from them. With the case dragging on, Make the Road lawyers and a pro bono partner asked the agency to close the case so that the findings from the investigation could be shared with them. And using the federal civil lawsuit they were planning to file on behalf of the workers, they filed the lawsuit in December of 2020, demanding more than $12 million. Jesus. During the lawsuit discovery process, lawyers found that Brioso had two previous wage theft claims against it, one from a decade earlier in which the agency ordered Brioso to pay a worker more than $12,000, and another from 2017 that it settled for $75,000. Jesus. And again, this is how much, this is the thin margins group. In November, the owners of Brioso agreed to settle the lawsuit with Zapatero and 11 others for $700,000, with roughly a third of it covering the lawyer's fees. In May, roughly 5 years after he went to New York State Department of Labor, Zapatero received his payment for Brioso, but he said that he was frustrated with the experience of working with the agency, saying it, quote, doesn't It doesn't work well because it took so long. We were waiting forever. Zapatego said neither the agency nor the district attorney's office was able to hold DiMaggio accountable for what he did. I wanted him to fix the way he was doing things, he said. So yeah, and like, this is the thing, right? There's like, this group that's like trying to help out. The Department of Labor takes forever, and this is what owners are betting on, that you don't have the resources or time to actually bring forth litigation and win your case. Because kind of like the same way that those Hollywood producers, the same way that they look at the writers, if you saw like early on in the writer's strike here in the US, there was a quote from some unnamed producer, or the I don't remember what the acronym is, but for the producers group, in which they said, we're gonna wait out the strike until writers start losing their homes, start their finances just start falling apart, and then they'll have to come to the table and accept a deal that's more in our favor. And that is your and my relationship with every single one of these owners. I guess I don't want to be too mean. Not every single, just a vast majority, because they don't have the same incentive structure we do. We sell our labor every single day for enough pay to keep our lives intact, to keep to be able to continue to pay for our rent, continue to pay maybe our mortgage if we're lucky, continue to pay for food, continue to pay for entertainment that keeps us from the just dying of depression or whatever. We sell our labor so that we can live decent lives, not to live some kind of extravagant lifestyle, just to live decently. And owners on the other hand, they don't live that way. The guys who own this restaurant, people who own Walmart, any of these retail stores, any of it, they don't sell their labor for a better life. They take a piece of the value you create through your labor, and they own that. They take all of it, they sell it, and they give you a little piece back. And they get to decide how big your piece is and how big their piece is. And what do you think when you have that ability to make that decision and nobody is there to challenge you? What do you think you're going to pick? I think it's rather obvious that when you build up a system where one person is at the top, unchallenged, unfazed, unquestioned, unbothered by the mass number of people who create the wealth that they oversee, it's naturally what you're going to see. You're going to see abuses. And these abuses aren't just like one or two things here. These sorts of abuses are far reaching. How many families had to go through financial strife because this DiMaggio guy wanted to hold on to just a little bit more of their surplus value, of the value that they created through their labor? How many families, 11 other people? 11 families this person was able to affect in a negative way, almost assuredly. And this is the system of capitalism. It empowers the few to lord over the many. Well, I think you're some sort of Marxist. You'd be shocked, Nova. What's funny is, it's just, I mean, like, I don't even know how much of this, because I've only really like delved into a bit of Marx's writing. I haven't read theory. I'm not a big theory person. My dyslexia, dysgraphia, and ADHD kind of incentivizes me to not bother trying to read something as wordy as the Communist Manifesto, amongst other things. But it's just like, I feel like this is all stuff that we all have experienced. We all can kind of understand. Like, I don't think I'm saying anything crazy here. We understand, like, conservatives understand, or at the very least, they have this, I think, innate distrust. No, I can't even say that. No, I can't even say that. I was going to say the federal government, but like their federal government thing is all convenient for them because it's only the federal government's a problem for them when it's not them in power. So no, I can't even say that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just none of this is I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't personally think it matters if it's Marxist. It's certainly probably a bit socialist, I'm sure. But like, and even then, I don't really know if it matters. It's just if any of this makes sense. If you hear this as a conservative and you think, but the person who started the business took the risk by starting the business, and yeah, okay, they took the risk. Nobody's saying that they didn't, but again, like, what's the risk? And no, seriously, like that's something also that people kind of forget. What's the risk? The risk is if your business fails, you know what happens? You're one of us again. You're just a worker. Like the worst thing these guys can become if their business fails, if they fail as an owner, is a worker. That's worst case scenario for them. They're back to being one of us. And that's where I think, because I've had really stern arguments with bosses before, and of smaller businesses. And that's what I think the thing is that like bugs them the most. They don't want to be told anymore what to do, how to do it. They don't want a boss anymore. But like it's not something that they don't want for society. It's just something they don't want for themselves. They just want to be the person to be cracking the whip. They're not against. They don't see a problem with the predatory authoritarian nature of the employer-employee relationship as it stands right now. They just have a problem with it being them on the receiving end. I don't know, maybe it's because they're too scared, too selfish to work with other workers and try to make it better for all of us. Because if being a worker was better for everybody, your risk to start a business isn't nearly as precarious. More people would probably end up doing so, I predict. But, to them, to most owners, they're there. The system worked for them. They're already up there. They don't need a reform. They just need everyone to shut the fuck up, stop complaining, and do what I say. That's what they need. Good bit of it. Yeah, I definitely think to be a boss, you need to be a bit narcissistic. Also, good for you, Nova. I respect that you claim the socialist label. I feel like a bit of a pussy because I try not to play the label game too much. But that's really just because I just don't feel like I've done enough of the reading and enough of the education. I feel inferior as like a in terms of education to a degree. But that might that might just be the that might be unnecessary on my part. That might just be me being hard on myself. On good days I'm a social, on other days I'm full on anarchist. That's fair. All right, should we do the okay, let's do the Alabama story really quickly, and then we'll jump into the fun half. Yeah. All right, so Alabama, it's a state. It kind of sucks. It's in the South. Those two things are usually come one after another. Yeah. Sweet is certainly not a descriptor I would actually use for Alabama. But so in the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Alabama, there is an argument that trans healthcare is apparently not deeply rooted in history and or isn't valid as a, I don't know what, scientific medical field, I suppose. let's take a look. I saw this headline and I kind of am like, I can't help but just be a bit worried by some of this language. Alabama trans healthcare ruling is a worry omen for the future SCOTUS decision. 11th Circuit Court pulled from Dobbs v. Jackson to argue trans healthcare isn't, quote, deeply rooted in history. So let's find out what the fuck that even means. 3 Trump-appointed, shocker there, federal judges ruled on Monday to allow one of the country's harshest bans on gender-affirming care for minors to go into effect. In Alabama, a doctor who treats a trans person under 19 years old. You remember when they said it was about the kids? Remember how that was the thing? It's just about leaving the kids alone. But now you can't get care unless you're 19, which is an entire year above what we determine is legally an adult. Crazy that, huh? With puberty blockers, trans person, let's see. A doctor who treats a trans person under 19 years old with puberty blockers or hormones could now face felony charges carrying up to 10 years in prison. Keep in mind also, this is also a scare tactic. No doctor now will ever in the state will ever give you those treatments because now they don't want to go to jail for 10 months. Of course, this isn't rooted in history. We just accomplished it. Let's see. The 11th, also, I don't know what they mean by rooted in history. Like, this trans people have existed for quite a while. We just haven't had the medical technology only just caught up. The 11th U.S., it's like, oh, yeah, the atomic bomb, not rooted in history. Yeah, no shit, because we didn't have all the resources to build it into a certain point. Like, yeah, like, it's all there. You just kind of, you have to collect everything to get it there. The 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals decision reversed an injunction that temporarily blocked the healthcare ban and stands at odds with the majority of federal court decisions on the issue so far. Oh, I need more water. The majority of federal court decisions, the disturbing ruling gives the clearest outline yet of the reactionary judicial logic that could be used to decimate trans people's right to necessary health care should the issue be taken up by the far-right Supreme Court. The very same reasoning used to end the right to abortion. Oh, lovely. Justice SCOTUS rules in Dobbs v. Jackson that abortion was not constitutionally protected because it was not deeply rooted in this nation's history and tradition. Who gives a shit? Well, wait a minute. Wait. Something isn't constitutional because it's not deeply rooted in the nation's history and tradition? Excuse me. Black people not being property was also not deeply rooted in this nation's history or traditions, and yet we freed the slaves and made an entire amendment to the Constitution to make sure that black people weren't property anymore, or anybody for that matter. But what, like, the 11th Circuit state, like, what does that even mean? Like, what? I just can't. Couldn't you get abortions back then? When, like, you could get abortions like super early. How long have abortions been around? I'm pretty sure abortions are not some new technology. Let's see. When you're fucking with me. First recorded evidence of induced abortion is from the Egyptian papyrus. What the fuck? Oh, it is the South. They definitely want slaves again. What the fuck? The abortion isn't rooted in history. It's only been around since the fucking Paleolithic era. Jesus Christ. I didn't expect that. I expected, like, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't expect BC. Like, that was not on my bingo card. Jesus, BC? Oh my God, these people are fucking clowns. The use of these medications in general, let alone, okay, sorry. They haven't just stated the parent, okay. Not deeply rooted in this nation's history and tradition. The 11th Circuit stated that parents do not have a fundamental right to direct the transition-related medical care of their children. So wait a minute. Parents have a fundamental right to the medical care of their children. except this one specific instance when it comes to transition. Because, like, parents will say, how many, we all hear it every single time. Parental rights, parental rights, parental rights, parental rights. But they just said it out loud. Parental rights except for things we don't agree with. Oh, man. There's blatant and then there's that. The use of these medications in general, let alone for children, almost certainly is not deeply rooted in our nation's history and tradition. Judge Barbara Lagoa wrote, citing the Dobbs decision. Yeah, medications that didn't exist before. First of all, we've had hormone therapy and puberty blockers for what, 20 plus years? Is that not history? Maybe not deeply rooted, but it's deeply rooted for me. It's my entire lifetime. And like, do you notice though, let alone for children? This means that they're coming, this doesn't end with kids, by the way. This doesn't end with children. It starts with this, but it will eventually just turn into no person has a fundamental right to the direct to their own transition. Like they've already set this precedent. Although there are records of transgender or otherwise gender nonconforming individuals from various points of history, shocker there, noted the ruling, the earliest recorded uses of puberty blocking medication and cross-sex hormone treatment for the purposes of treating the discordance between the individual's biological sex and the sense of gender identity did not occur until well into the 20th century. Who cares? What is this? This is what, never evolve fucking medicine? If medicine discovered in the 20th century isn't old enough, do they want us to, you know what's deeply rooted? You know what's deeply rooted in American history and medicine? Dumping fucking leeches on people. Is that the only thing? Is that the bar here? It needs to be deeply rooted. So like when I'm getting my cancer treatment, they'll be like, whoa. That cancer treatment was only created in the 21st century. Wouldn't you rather, we think as a Supreme Court, as a group of judges, that you should instead, waylay that 21st century medicine and douse yourself with thousands, if not millions of leeches. This is the deeply rooted medical practice here in the United States. We are a leech kind of country right here. That's our traditions. It's ridiculous. It's fucking stupid. Fucking idiotic. This is, by the way, why you should never have these sorts of people, government officials, involved in your healthcare. It should just never. This is not the field in which they are appropriately competing in. That is, trans youths have no right to the medicine they need because that medicine is not hundreds of years old. The decision also implies that the same logic could also be used to find bans on adult trans health unconstitutional. Obviously, if it's not good enough for kids, if it's not old enough for kids, why is it old enough for adults? The deployment of Dobbs to deny established civil rights comes as no surprise when Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito's draft decision overturning Roe v. Wade leaked. It was clear that the, quote, history and tradition standard would be invoked again to hack away at an array of rights and legal precedents hard won in the last century. Yeah, and again, history and tradition. We have a history and tradition of owning black people. I don't think that's something that we should bring back just because it's within our traditions. To demand that enumerated rights be deeply rooted in U.S. history and tradition is, after all, to insist that only the rights of propertied white men are recognized as fundamental, as Alito and his Christo-nationalist allies well know. The AR-15 assault weapon, what the fuck, was only invented, quote, well into the 20th century, too, but can be sure that such an argument from history would do little to aid gun control advocates in court. Too much is at stake. Oh my God, they're so right. That's such a good point. Stop. God, that's actually a brilliant point. Because, yeah, they would argue, like, you can't argue that, like, laws, like, you can't make this argument and then be like, oh, yeah, but you can totally have, fucking Billy at age 10 can have an AR-15 because it's its constitutional right. Are you insane? That wasn't made. If we went by this, everyone should still be shooting muskets and stabbing themselves with shitty, dull, war, like Western British swords or whatever the fuck. What are those things called? What are like the swords that they used in that? That's like, is that a cavalier? Am I crazy? Right? Sword? Right? I'm so fucking right. God damn it, I'm so goddamn smart. I was really pulling that one out of my ass. Oh, wait. No, I was right. What are you doing? Yeah. Yeah, like this should be if we are using an originalist reading of the goddamn Constitution, this is your keep and bear arms, you bastards. Fucking out here. This is your keep and bear arms. This is all you get. A nice fancy sword. Fucking idiots. Anyway, Too much is at stake in our collective struggle for bodily autonomy to entertain the fantasy that pointing out right-wing hypocrisy undermines right-wing rule. And this is incredibly true. They don't care. When the first trans youth healthcare bans were heard by federal courts this past year, it was heartening that judges in state after state saw the bans for what they are, at odds with scientific consensus, ideologically driven, discriminatory, and likely unconstitutional, and blocked them. Even in some notorious conservative courts, federal judges from Florida to Kentucky to Arkansas agreed that arguments treating youth gender-affirming care as untested and dangerous are simply not based in fact. Only one other federal court, the Sixth Circuit, has reversed an injunction and permitted a ban on trans youth health care to go through in Tennessee. With the circuit split on the issue, it is even more likely that a case will soon go before the Supreme Court. The 11th Circuit ruling gives a chilling taste of what a SCOTUS decision could look like, poorly argued and drenched in the sort of authoritarian dogma that the nation's highest court is known to embrace. Yep. Let's be really clear about this. They don't want trans people to exist. That's really all it is. They don't like trans people for whatever weird, insecure reasons, and they will do whatever it is that they need to do, pass whatever laws, whatever restrictions, put pressure on doctors, put pressure on parents, put pressure on schools to make trans people's lives, especially kids, because you got to get them early, miserable, so that they, never evolve to their full and most powerful state. You see, what they truly fear is a fully and armed trans populace. That's what they really fear. They are worried because at the end of the day, like, their fear is idiotic and hyperbolic. So, it's why they say stuff like, oh, they're trying to trans the kids. Like, they genuinely, I sometimes wonder, maybe they don't genuinely believe this. Maybe they're just bigots. But some of them, you got to bet, probably genuinely believe that there is, like, this mass transing of kids. Like, there's going to be just a fucking they-them army out there ready to take out the South or something. Like, but, they're going to do whatever it is they got to do. And they don't care if they make bad arguments. They don't care if their arguments don't make any sense, as long as it does the thing that they want done, which is oppress and hopefully just kind of, filter out trans people as early as possible in life. But, all I can say is if you're in Alabama, vote for Democrats. That's the best thing I can say. Move, or maybe vote for Democrats, but probably have a plan to move out of the state at some point. Same with Florida, same with really, if you live in the South, just plan on moving eventually. But either way. All right. Should we? Yes, we should actually. I'm not going to ask the question. We're going to head into the legally distinct fun half. I'm going to grab water, possibly some more ice. I think I need more ice. Definitely need more ice in here. We'll be back, and then we'll do like some fun clips, some fun silly clips. That's the plan.
Could not shop at Target, or else you're gay.
Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes.
Just to simplify this, I think we're just going to use May keep the pantyhose on. This feels kind of good, actually.
Larger than that, Darby. I live like a capitalist every single day.
Beat it up, N-word.
What is more important? Our culture than the Joker.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
I like black guys a lot.
The alpha males are back.
And we're back. All right. Let me actually read the. Let's see. We believe in the family union. We think parents are responsible for their children, including healthcare. Some random journalist. What about trans healthcare? Same politician. What do trains have to do with this? That's a good one. All Republicans and senators representatives seem convinced that in order to love Jesus, you need a Bible and an AR-15. Well, yeah, because you need to be God's warrior. Because life for them is conflict. Their entire there was wait, no, I did. This is their lives. 1 second. I did. Oh God, fucking Twitter! I swear. Where is it? This is their life. Where? Can I zoom in a bit? This is their fucking life, man. They live in this world where they're fucking crusaders. I don't know why. The one that makes me laugh so much is the install the app. That one's the funniest to me. I will not install the app. You can't make me. Yeah, it's just life is conflict. Yeah, they are. No, they are. Because and it's also why you see, oh, I can't see anything right now. It's also why they try so hard to be tough. Why, it's really funny because conservative men are to a man the most insecure type of guy. They are always trying to, in some form or fashion, reinforce that they are the strong, the alpha. That they're always trying to reinforce and tell themselves, teeth gritted, that they are the real strong men. It's just they don't have. It's why Jordan Peterson and guys like that always talk about, oh, well, let me do Jordan here. Let me do Jordan really quickly. Let's do, can I do Jordan? I think I can do Jordan Peterson. I just have to remember, I have to think of doing Jordan Peterson, then decide to do Kermit, and that somehow gets me. Because if I try to think about doing Jordan Peterson, then it doesn't end up as close. But if I try to do Kermit, it somehow gets all right. Let me bring up a picture of Kermit real quick. Let me get the essence here. Where's my boy? All right. Okay, everybody. You see, young men, when they were 20, they went out to fight in wars, and they used to fight, and they used to battle on the battlefield and come home and take care of the women. But I worry for the young men, because what do they do now? Who are they without that role in society? And I worry for these men. I weep for these men, these young men who don't have a path, and the Chaos Dragon has taken them in, and they don't know how to get out of it. They're addicted to the internet and everything in between. I just don't know. I don't know what to do. Okay. Oh, man. That's a bit difficult. Oh, my goodness. Go back to Albania. Oh, my God. But, what is it? What's the one he said? Up yours, woke moralist. we'll see who cancels who. Thank you. Oh no, my thing. Okay, 1 second. I nudged my camera. Now it's got to reset. That's okay. That takes like 2 seconds to fix. Oh man. Yeah. Integrated. That one's not on. Oh, hey, look at that. It's the weird one. Okay, cool. This back on. There we go. We're back. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think when I was doing a hand motion, I flicked it or something. But, yeah, thank you. Yeah. I take pride in my Jordan Peterson impression. I think it's actually, if I ever met the man, I would almost assuredly just talk to him like that the entire time. But yeah, it's just, you know, that's, it's why they always start from that position, because their vision of being a man, of masculinity, of the role of men in society is like 2 centuries old. They all think they should be on a fucking battlefield fighting the Muslims over land that they don't live on. It's quite odd, really. They don't know like what their role is unless it's dying on a battlefield and protecting the women at home or something. And it's why they rail against feminism. It's why they you know, they hate like women with power, because it takes away their that kind of being a man. It makes it irrelevant. And what they don't quite understand is that we've passed that Rubicon, or as Ben Shapiro said it, we broke that glass over and over again. Like, it's just not, nobody, like, go up to a woman in 2023. She's not, they don't need men. And as like a man, that shouldn't bother you, because that means you can be chosen for like how many of us, right? How many of us have parents or know of parents who got together because there was an expectation that by a certain age they would be married? It's not uncommon at all, especially the older your parents are. Both my parents are boomers, and you know, the reason why they ended up getting married wasn't because there was some, you know, like some meaningful connection, although I'm sure there was to a degree, but a larger factor to them getting married was they were in their 30s, a little bit past the time in which they should have been married. They came from the same area, you know, they both were from Pennsylvania, living in Virginia. They were both, you know, they got along, they were friends, but like none of those are reasons to get married. But that, like, for a lot of those older folks, that's it. Convenience, safety, all that sort of stuff. But now we live in a time, and we live in an era where those pressures aren't on women or men. They shouldn't be on either group. But for whatever reason, these guys, these conservative man babies, want to impose that on women because they think that they'll benefit from it. But all they're going to get are the marriages that are miserable, the ones that end early, and the ones that they're constantly going to be complaining about. How many conservative guys are also the same type? Will be like, oh yeah, you know, the old ball and chain never lets me do what I want. Like, they don't get that that's like that's like a joke, but like there's a lot of people who live that life and weren't happy in their marriages, but because again they have this fealty to institutions, they have to believe you know, that marriage is this laudable institution, instead of what it really is a commitment between two people to you know, if you're a monogamous, to stay monogamous and to kind of group together. And on a societal level, it's certainly makes your life a little bit easier when, you know, the taxes change a little bit and you get a little bit more room and stuff like that. But like they want to create this system that they're not even going to be happy with, because I just don't think that they've found a lot of times what would make them happy outside of living an expected somebody else's expectation of a family format. But yeah. But Anyway, speaking of all of that, have you heard the song Fat Bottom Girls by Queen? I bet you have. It's a hit. It's a bop. It's a banger. It's Queen. Let's be honest. It's Queen's song. All of these things go without saying. Well, apparently there is. I saw this like. You have not. Okay. This is what's gonna happen. This is gonna happen. I'm going. Okay. This is what's gonna happen. This is unacceptable. But I also can't play it on stream for obvious reasons. So where is it? Oh my God, what the okay, there it is. So here's your homework, Nova. Here's your homework. Well, actually, this is the first assignment. Your first assignment is go listen to Fat Bottom Girls. Your end of semester assignment is go listen to all of Queen. That's your end of that's your semester midterm. Go there, but so Fat Bottom Girls, wonderful song. I bet you can guess what it's about. This song specifically was apparently left off of a children's streaming platform that was compiling a greatest hits collection of Queen songs. So let's get this. Let's map this out here. You're a music streaming website that does playlists specifically for kids. Your music playlist website or whatever the fuck platform is for children. You're like, I like Queen. You like Queen. Everyone likes We Will Rock You. Everyone likes We Are the Champions. Everyone likes Bohemian Rhapsody, but young kids aren't going to understand it, but they'll get it eventually. They can listen to Bohemian Rhapsody. Maybe. I actually don't know if that let's stand on that. Ooh, we should look that up. We should look to see what actually made it on this list. But you mean to decide all these. You come to the album Jazz and you think to yourself, okay, Don't Stop Me Now, great Queen song, wonderful song, super fast paced, kids would love it. Fat Bottom Girls. Now, do we put a song about the big booty bitches of the 1970s and the 80s? Do we put that on a child's playlist on our streaming service? Maybe we can leave that one off. And apparently, the group of people in the United States who never want to stop talking about groomers, teachers being groomers, trans people, drag queens, partaking in kink in front of children, every other anti-LGBT, rip your hair out, hyperbolic reaction, they seem to always be so worried about the kids. They weirdly landed on a different angle on this one. You would think on this topic, oh yeah, conservatives, they're not going to be in favor of a song about big booty bitches playing for kids. That's not something that they're going to be advocates for, especially when the song is not very thinly veiled. Their instincts aren't as consistent as you'd hope they would be. So, let me grab my headphones. Almost forgot these bad boys.
My favorite rock bands of all time.
Of course.
Not like the biggest rock and roll fanatic. Queen, one of my favorite rock bands of all time.
Oh, we're aware, Michael.
Not like the biggest rock and roll fanatic, but one of my favorite rock bands ever. Queen has just dropped.
Also, let me just say to all the straight people out there who are like huge Queen devotees, and then you vote Republican, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. I'm sorry. If I have to go to one more goddamn stadium filled with a bunch of MAGA hats who are enthusiastically, enjoying Queen and or YMCA by the Village People, get the fuck out. You're deported. Get out. Be gone with you.
One of its biggest hits from its greatest hits collection. The new greatest hits collection for Queen will not include Fat Bottom Girls. Oh, You're Gonna Take Me Home Tonight. Oh, Down Beside That Red Fire Light.
Yep.
Oh, won't you let it all hang out, fat bottom girls, you make the rock and roll go round. That's going to be out. This song was written in 1978. It's been a big hit ever since. It was written by Brian May, who's a big
Love Brian May.
lib.
He's also he also has like a fucking degree in like, he's like a physicist or some nonsense.
Pointing that out because I think this is crucial here. And it would appear, though the band hasn't made any statement on it, that the libs of Queen and the record label have caved to the woke people who've said that this song is politically incorrect.
What? Politically incorrect? I just don't know if it's, I mean, if you're asking me personally, I kind of think it's a song. If you want to leave it off, there's more than enough. Like, Queen has an amazing discography. You don't have to include fat bottom girls. You can, but I don't really think you have to. Also, okay, let's see if we can find, fuck me, that's not the one I'm looking for. Let's see if we can actually find the website. Oh my God, this is like the most, oh no. Oh, wait, no, stop, reject all your cookies. You will not. You will not get me. Precisely. Where's the track list? Where's the track list? I found it. Where's the track list? And now I want to take this guy's face. You should. Every time. Yeah. Like, Queen, wonderful. Queen's great. Show me the track list. Show me the track list. Okay, what do we got here? This is how we'll really tell. Bohemian Rhapsody, wonderful. Another One Bites the Dust, cool. Killer Queen, great. This has like a smoking illusion, but I'm pretty sure it's Bicycle Race, cool. You're My Best Friend, cool. Don't Stop Me Now, Save Me, yep. Crazy Little Thing Called Love, cool. Somebody to Love, oh, Somebody to Love's great. Now I'm Here, Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy. This is so short. We're the Champions, We Will Rock You, Seven Seas of Rye, Flash. Okay, really, do we need Flash? There's not that much in Flash. Play the Game, and that's it. This is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is 16 songs. I want everyone to understand Queen could fill up and has filled up like a 3-album greatest hits collection. Please note that the lyrics in some of these songs contain adult themes, including occasional references to violence and drugs, which it does. These are the original and unedited recordings. Whilst no swear words are used, parental discretion is advised when playing this content to or around your younger children. So, yeah, it seems like if you would like to play Queen around your kids, just you know what you're getting into. We just didn't keep fat bottom girls on because there's really no dodging that one. Like, what's funny is, again, keep in mind, I want you to remember this entire time we watch this. Michael Knowles and people like him call drag queens reading kids books, not special kids books like the fucking Hungry Caterpillar, and they call that grooming. I want you to keep that in mind. That's the bar that they're working from.
And that it's mean to fat women or something like that. And
it's what? Okay, no, we'll go back. We'll go back to Here's Arguments.
And the record label have caved to the woke people who've said that this song is politically incorrect and that it's mean to fat women or something like that. And
so also you would have to tell me that, like, because if you go to look, Queen, let's see, drop from children's streaming service. Ooh, let's see. Okay, the legendary rock band on August, Universal Music announced it would be sharing. But when Yodo added the album, a cheeky song that includes lyrics about a naughty nanny, big fat, yeah, we already know. The band declined to comment on the decision, but Phil Symes, a spokesman for Queen's publication arm, Queen Productions, confirmed the removal of the song. Quote was agreed with the band ahead of the release. The choice to wipe the song grew criticism from Fox News. So to put this plainly, let's be really clear. There was no pushback. This was a decision that Queen and the people who distribute their music made ahead of time. This is not them taking it out was not a reaction to anything. The same way that when they stopped printing those like 2 really kind of racist Dr. Seuss books, also decided to pull that without controversy. They weren't getting pushback. They decided that ahead of time.
You might be saying, Michael, that explanation doesn't make any sense because we live in the world of Lizzo. We live in the world of body positivity.
Also, Fat Bottom Girls.
Fat Bottom Girls should be an anthem, except Fat Bottom Girls is kind of a cheeky, funny song. It's kind of making a little bit of a joke about it. Kind of like, what's that song? Lola, you know, who's a dude but looks like a chick or whatever. You don't really hear that song as much anymore because it's a song about a certain psychosexual phenomenon that we're not allowed to talk about on YouTube. But you'd think, well, maybe you'd hear that song more now as that ideological fad has become more.
I'm going to read you the lyrics really quickly. Again, I'm going to keep making this point. This guy thinks reading The Hungry Caterpillar in drag is grooming, but doesn't, and is somehow too sexual for children, but somehow is okay with the lines. I was just a skinny lad, never knew no good from bad, but I knew life before I left my nursery, left alone with big fat Fanny. She was such a naughty nanny. Big heap woman, you made a bad boy out of me. Wonderful song. I fucking love Fat Bottom Girls. But like, I, unlike Michael Knowles, am pretty liberal with my media consumption. I don't think I'd have a problem with this for my kids. But Michael Knowles certainly should, shouldn't he? Shouldn't Michael Knowles see a problem with some of those lyrics? If reading The Hungry Caterpillar is, such an offense. There we go. My light went out for a second. Just a bit odd. Just a bit of inconsistency
it's kind of
there.
making fun of it. Well, here, Fat Bottom Girls is kind of making fun of it, but shouldn't that be positive too? Can't we appropriate that term just like
I don't even know what he's
LGBT
talking about.
activists have reappropriated queer? It doesn't. Hold on. What's going on? I'll tell you exactly what's going on. It's the catch-22 of woke culture. You see this if you're a white guy. You see this if you serve.
By the way, keep in mind, Queen, all made up of white guys.
Tacos at your dinner party. If you serve tacos at your dinner party as a white person, that is cultural appropriation.
No, it's called cooking. That's not cultural appropriation. That's called cooking. That's literally just called cooking.
If you don't serve tacos at your dinner party as a white person, that's cultural erasure.
That's not cooking. That's just starving.
If you wear a sombrero on Cinco de Mayo, cultural appropriation. If you don't acknowledge Cinco de Mayo, cultural erasure.
Do you see how like there's no way how like everything to them is like a conspiracy? How it's always a narrative? Like there is no getting away from it because they don't understand these terms. They don't understand cultural appropriation. They don't understand cultural erasure. They don't understand any of that. You not eating pizza isn't Italian erasure. It's just you not eating pizza. A culture erasure would be like you renaming the small area in New York City that is Little Italy to, I don't know, fucking Pasta Town or fuck, I don't know what the fuck. You just name it something that isn't Italian. That's erasure because those people like all settled kind of in that area and grew a community. That's cultural erasure. If you dress up during Halloween as a Native American with the whole get up and you run around and do the and all that shit, that's cultural appropriation. Like that's all that is. When you do brown face during the Western era, that's cultural erasure. Jesus Christ. And
those are two
appropriation,
Mexican examples, but they go throughout the entire
maybe
culture.
Appropriation, sorry.
And so here, if you have a fun song about slightly more corpulent, buxom women,
it's literally about women with fat asses.
That would be appropriation, I guess. That would be you're making light.
It's called good
of
music.
This issue,
is
or
what
making
it's called.
Fun or being derisive. But if you don't,
like to call it.
it's erasure.
Yes.
What do? You shut up. That's what you do. The reason that Queen has to get rid of the song is not because of the subject matter of the song. The reason Queen has to get rid of the song is because they're white guys.
Well, keep in mind also, do you notice? Okay, wait. I'm kind of curious. Do you notice? Wait. Rock band Queen is bowing to the mob and dropping Fat Bottom Girls from its greatest hits collection. Do you think that the body positivity movement would like the song, but it makes fun of just... has gone soft with that crap. Like, this is just a blatant lie. It's not on their greatest hits collection. It's on a child-specific streaming services, like, playlist. This is not the, like... where is it? Queen greatest hits. But I want the like the one that everyone actually knows. Yeah, like this is the greatest hits collection of Queen. This. Well, okay, this one is the 1981 edition. But like, you know, yeah. This one 92. Woo, let's go. Yeah, like how many people have seen this one because it's the one that's on like iTunes or the one or not iTunes. Yeah, on iTunes, Apple Music, what's the other one? Spotify. Like if you go to the Queen's greatest hits thing, this is what you get. It's a actual compilation of greatest hits. What he's talking about is a kids platform to which one song of God, like again, the track list for these things, like the track list for a greatest hits compilation from Queen is fucking huge. And like they cut out Fat Bottom Girls. They also cut out what's the one? I'd have to look at the list again. But they also didn't include Radio Gaga. What the fuck do you mean? Yeah, I just thought about that. It's one of my favorite Queen songs. They didn't include Radio Gaga. What, do they have something against the fucking radio telecommunications? No, it's just there's only so many songs you can fit on a greatest hits collection for like a kids thing because they have to pay for each individual song to probably go on there. And they probably were thinking, it's kids. Maybe a song about women with fat asses isn't like, you know, maybe we'll skip that one. Because be sure, if they kept Fat Bottom Girls on there, you can be sure Michael Knowles and the rest of them, by their standards, should complain about it for sexualizing children. They won't because it's an old classic rock song made by white guys, and that's the only part they care about, let alone the fact that, you know, Freddie Mercury was bi, I believe, actually, and part of the LGBT community and whatnot. But, you know, nobody ever talks about that anymore, now do they?
The nearest thing to a not white guy in Queen was Freddie Mercury, and he's been dead for decades. So they can't do it. It's not that this sort of thing cannot be talked about. It's that you can't talk about it. Right now, text Knowles to 98989.
No, I won't be doing that. Also, I love the you can't talk about it while I make a 9-minute YouTube video about it. I'm assuming he's not going to come back to this topic because they usually don't. Let's see.
Share.com/Michael. Terms and conditions apply. Now, getting back to money. Joe Biden has...
Boo. Okay. That's fine. Oh my goodness. What idiots. I told you. I mean, come on. They can't keep up. They can't keep going on that topic.
Queen, one of...
Shush. I wish I could play the song so we could enjoy it. Sparks outrage. I can't listen because you're plus. What is this? GBN News. Oh yeah, there's like, okay, so there's like another site. It's this one that isn't viewed by basically anybody. This got 50K views. Like, and this is again one of those, oh my God, people are freaking out. Nobody heard about this. Only in conservative media did this story. Only did conservatives circulate this story. This isn't a story on anywhere. Like you didn't. I don't even think did TYT do the story? I don't even think they did. Let's find out. Let me use the mainstream progressive network to gauge how much the left talked about a topic. I'm not. Let's see. It's almost like it's not a story. Let's see. Humanist Report. As I misspell Humanist Report or Humanist. Let's see. Not seeing a lot of Queen. Nope, doesn't look like it. So, I know, David Pakman. I know. Fuck me. The man who stole Sam Cedar's background. Never forget what they took from you. Does it? Nope. Pakman didn't cover it either. Weird. It's almost like it's only a, let's see. Wait, did Ben talk about it? Let's find out. Let's see if Ben talked about it. Usually this sort of media stuff isn't usually Ben's. Where's the long one? That's like the whole show. Let's see. Oh, They don't fucking do what's it called anymore. They don't do timestamps. Let's see. Oh my god. Does he never cut to things? Maybe. Oh my god, they never cut to shit. All right, well, let's assume no then. Wait, I know who I saw talked about it. Let's see. Oh no, he was talking about Judy Garland, somebody who nobody has thought about since like fucking 1963. Let's see. What's the... Oh, that's right. He doesn't put the whole show up on here now. Yeah. Either way, yeah, this isn't really much of a story on the left so much. Like, it's always like, let's see. Twitter? Yeah, let's check Twitter. Queen. Let's go with Queen. Let's see. No, I should have known. Let's see. Let's see. Cut from Queens to appease younger audience. Suggestive 19 considered Universal Group to be too raunchy. Yeah, maybe just a bit. What? Again, they're like, oh, it's too woke. Oh, geez, the wokery from the same crowd that like doesn't. Drakeen's reading Freddie Mercury singing about actual child. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Now that I think about it, yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think about this angle, but yeah, just a bit. Be taken off the greatest hits. Why would it? It's for kids. Dude, look at this artwork. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. Oh no, Twitter, you piece of shit platform. Doesn't fucking zoom in because the stupid picture keeps... Ugh. The fuck is going on here? Okay. Just, yeah. I read this. Yep. Fat bottom girl poo reply. Amazing. Yeah, okay, yeah. So it was trending in the UK. Anyway, yeah, it's just, this is the same group that always wants to talk about the children. I find it comical. Mercer Straight reacts to Young Turk's take on PragerU in schools. Okay. I don't care about that. Whoa, what the hell is this? Releasing Trump's... Oh, right. Okay. Anyway, what do we got next? Oh, right. Okay. So, if you were living in the United States over the last, I don't know, when did that whole boycott thing start? In March? So, April, May, June, July, 5 months ago? 5 months ago. The right lost its mind over a single can of beer. I'm not joking. Like, they lost their collective minds over a single can of beer. A can of beer strewn with Dylan Mulvaney, a kind of irritating TikTok influencer, like most TikTok influencers, irritating, who had a can donned with their face on it in celebration of, I think their first year of transition. Nothing really all that crazy, unique. It was I think it was just an Instagram post. Maybe also it was posted onto TikTok. And the right collectively lost their goddamn minds. Somebody who lost their mind more than possibly anybody was Kid Rock. You might have seen him in the intro to the Fun Half doing this. You might have seen this.
Grandpa's feeling a little frisky today. Let me say something to all you.
I don't know what frisky means. It's a bit awkward.
As clear.
It's a bit creepy.
As possible.
MP5. So, Kid Rock taking a strong stance against a beer having a person's face on. Should we show the video? Maybe we should show the video. Let's this is the video that commercial. I love this. This is the video that sparked that response. It is 48 seconds.
Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
it's a
thought we were
promotion
all
for
just
March
having
Madness.
A hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate.
My plan also is to update the fun half, I think, because this clip is in here briefly, and then it's the ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm thinking we'll update it so it's the ba-da-da-da-da-da, and then it'll be to this story.
This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it. Check out my Instagram
I didn't even realize
story
it's
to see how
not.
you can enjoy March Madness with Bud Light and maybe win some money too.
Wow, the most innocuous and like thing that happens every single day. It's a cool can. I wish they printed them. At least it would feel more what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not joking when I say it was one can. That wasn't a can that was printed and sent out like to stores. Like that was, they did one of those with Dylan Mulvaney's face on it, and that elicited Kid Rock to fire guns, fire an MP5K at a bunch of cases of Bud Light. And now fast forward, and it doesn't, it doesn't seem like, it just doesn't seem like the air's there anymore for the big Bud Light boycott. It seems like we have somebody who just wasn't strong enough to make it through.
Kid Rock enjoys a Bud Light?
Oh, pussy.
So apparently,
Oh, no.
Kid Rock was spotted at an event.
Oh, keep in mind, Kid Rock was everybody's favorite person when he shot the MP5K at the beer. Everyone was like, he shot that MP5K at a non-moving target. Let's fucking go, America. Woo, 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 woo. Like, this was the energy they were on. And now, let's be honest here. How long has Kid Rock been drinking Bud Light? How long did that boycott last for him? Does he look like the kind of guy who can survive without shitty beer? The man looks like he lives on shitty beer. I'm pretty sure if you did a biological analysis, Kid Rock, unlike the rest of us humans, is not made of 70% water, but more like 50%, with the other 20% being shitty piss beer like Natty Light and Bud Light. Let's be really clear about that.
At the Sky Deck in Nashville Thursday night at Colt Ford's show, drinking Bud Light. So a lot of people are saying it's probably the only beer they had or whatever, but I don't know. I guess the point of the story is this is a guy who opened fire on Bud Light, said F you, who now I guess doesn't care all that much and is back on.
Sisan, I agree. All beer's pretty gross. That's true.
Drinking it.
I mean, look, I have
all beer is disgusting. Weed juice. Real men drink liquor.
Many years now, like it's like 5-6 years or whatever.
What a cool guy.
I'm not the one to talk smack, but like, after all of the stuff, like right, you go out of the way to make a video and stuff. You'd think
it literally filmed it on his phone, and he's like rich. Ammo doesn't cost that much to him.
That he'd have the wits about him to drink whiskey that night. It's not like it's not like Bud Light's the only option. I mean, maybe it was okay, fine, but like, dude, you could go a day without drinking to not get this this photo.
I just think that there's too much attention put on this stuff. Like I don't drink, so I don't really care either way. Because I'm not drinking beer regardless. But people get so worked up about this, and I don't know. I just find these stories to be a little silly at times because okay, yeah, Dylan Mulvaney was put on a Bud Light can, and yeah, it's not exactly tasteful that Bud Light had an entire marketing campaign that was trying to force transgenderism on the public, but the obsessiveness.
Did you notice? Okay, so I want you to remember, we watched the video that they have a problem with, and they're saying that is forcing transgenderism onto the public. And again, this is the same side that wants to say that, oh, but fat bottom girls, totally fine. Like, okay. want to see if I can find this. Where is it? I want to find Dwight. Oh no, that's the oh. No, that's the wind. Oh, here it is. Like this is where is it? Why did Kid Rock? Why?
Right? Of like the right on this issue. It's just I just
transgenderism. Okay, the term transgenderism exists because they need some kind of they need to frame transgender healthcare and like the existence of trans people as an ideological like as an ideological like opponent, I guess. It can't be just the existence of other people. It needs to be something debatable. And like ideology is debatable. Politics are debatable. You know, your stance on this or that issue is debatable. And like the acceptance of trans people as just people, you can't debate black people exist, right? That's not a thing you can debate. You have to debate black culture. You can't debate gay people exist. You have to debate whether gay people are a positive or net good for society. You can't debate what's another one? Okay, here's a European centric one. You can't debate that the Romani aren't people, but you can debate if they're pains in the asses who always steal your stuff and break laws or do whatever it is that people always have a problem with the Romani about. Like, you can debate the like all this other stuff, but you can't debate existence. So like they have to turn transgenderism into, or being transgender into, this thing that's more in the realm of debate, as like, oh, it's a mental illness, so we can debate if we should allow people if we should treat it like ADHD and ADD, or if we should treat it like schizophrenia, or even though people go about their lives with schizophrenia and it's perfectly fine. You know, like they need to take it out of the realm of debating existence, because they can't debate existence, and bring it into a place of like, no. This is a thought process. This is an ideology. This is something that people have been like convinced exists. Like they can't seed the ground that trans people just exist and are part of our species and of our societies. It's why they can never, they never concede the ground, no matter how many times you explain it, no matter how many times you like flagrantly show that they're idiotic and that they understand that sex and gender are different things, even though they can never cop to that. They can't ever accept that sex and gender are different, because it like that would destroy their ability to argue it. Because like talk to anybody who's a bit anti-trans, and you can walk them through all of the logic, and you can do like all of the, you understand that gender isn't biological. You go up to groups of people, mixed men and women, and say, "What's up, guys?" You like you understand. Everybody understands sex, gender, different things. And it's also why they say stuff like, oh, there's only two sexes. And it's like, well, first of all, no, there's not. There's intersex people. But second of all, okay, nobody's arguing with you at that. We're talking about gender. And they can't ever stand in one solid place and argue, because their arguments belie and rely. I don't know why I said both of those. But their arguments rely on the misuse and the misassigning of terms and definitions. It like they can't do it. It's not something that they're capable of doing. Why is she winking at me? Because she's giving away the game that she doesn't really believe all of this. This is, oh, it's Laura Loomer. Oh yeah, I've heard of this person. Not a lot. I don't know their whole story, but I know I've heard they're a grifter. Yeah, she's just winking to let the audience know, hey, I don't really care about any of this stuff. This is all propaganda. somebody pays me to not write this book, I just put my name on it.
Just feel like these are distractions and there's a lot more important issues in our country. I understand you want to, you can boycott them, but the media, right, they'll fixate on it. They'll talk about it, but they're not talking about other things that matter. There's so many stories that go unreported every single day because, especially the right, they have this.
There's so many, well, yeah, there's a million stories that go unreported every day. You only have so much time in ink.
This obsessive nature and this obsessive quality and latching onto things and it's like, okay, we get it. Okay,
also, it's kind
of tired now.
Daily
we
Mail
can
kind
move
of
on to other things that are more important. We can move on to other things that are also more important.
I think this is the most important thing.
Tim Pool's supposed to be a serious political analyst, or at the very least, a serious political commentator. And he thinks, with no equivocation, that the idea of Kid Rock, MP5K shooting ass, piss beer drinking looking ass Kid Rock, buying a Bud Light is the most important story.
Whew. As I've mentioned now, 50 billion times ad nauseum to our audience.
Tell me about it.
Laws are only enforced if a culture supports it. So the reason why police refuse to enforce the law against these adult sex shows that they're inviting children to is
he's talking about drag queens reading books to kids.
Because television, Walmart, Amazon, and all their libraries and all the small businesses are putting up the flag saying this is what we want. So the cops are like, I know it's illegal, but we're not going to get involved because we'll be shunned and ostracized.
I understand what you're.
Keep in mind, there aren't laws against drag queen story time. There is. Okay, let's all remember, there's a legal precedent as to what is, like the thing he's describing as illegal. Like, I don't even think I'm not sure what legal statute or legal standard he's invoking here, but certainly Drag Queen Story Hour does not tip over into that legal standard. It just doesn't meet that legal standard. So, it's kind of one of those Tim, buddy, my friend, my pal, my dude who wears a beanie every day. Look, I wear a hat. We wear hats. We can come together on wearing hats. Yours just never comes off, and I only really wear mine for streaming when I go out. My buddy, you can call the police and you can tell them all the stuff that you tell your audience every single day. Do you know what the police are going to tell you and what they've told every single person who does that at these events? They roll up and they go, Can you show me? Can you show me the crime, please? Can you point me in the direction of the crime being committed? And Tim Pool goes like, right there. There's a man in a dress and he's standing near a child. And the officer goes, yep. Well, unfortunately, sir, I have to say, you yelling is actually could be seen as harassment and public harassment. So I'm gonna need you to calm down before I arrest you for that. But unfortunately, the nice gentleman in the skirt over there is allowed to wear skirts. There aren't laws currently on the books that require me to arrest that gentleman for wearing clothes of his choosing. As long as his usually the way it usually, at least for us here at the precinct, as long as your ding dong ain't out, and if you're a woman, as long as your vajayjay ain't out and maybe your boobies, then yeah, unfortunately there's not much we can do. People go to the pool every day. We'd have to arrest half the pool goers if we went by this standard. So we're gonna get in our cruiser and we're gonna go do something else. I'm thinking, maybe we'll go try helping the dog catcher or something. But this ain't for us. That's what's gonna happen because there aren't laws against this stuff. We don't have the laws that Tim Pool wants or thinks exist. They don't, but he certainly thinks they do. But they just don't exist. And there is no legal standard for what he's talking about. And everything that he's tying together, the problem that he has with it is that it's acceptance. Because the issue isn't that the law isn't cracking down. The issue is that in absence of the law cracking down, people are becoming more accepting of LGBT folks, of trans people, of gay people, of non-binary people, of everything in between. And Tim Pool, I don't know what Tim Pool feels, but Tim Pool knows his audience, and Tim Pool's audience doesn't like trans people. Tim Pool's audience isn't particularly fond of gay people. Tim Pool's audience don't understand non-binary people. And Tim Pool's audience are probably a bit resentful of bisexual people. So, like, he's got to play the game. And it's why he says ridiculous stuff like, this is the most important thing ever.
You're coming from, but there's just so much bullshit that's fed to people around these topics. For example, right? And this is what I'm talking about with them wasting everybody's
Timothy,
time.
no horny
Everybody
posting.
gets in a
Take it
hissy fit
easy.
about Bud Light, and they say, okay, we're gonna boycott. And then it's like all these viral videos of popular politicians coming out with videos, like Ron DeSantis, for example, right? He sat down with Benny Johnson, who had his camera crew come with Ron DeSantis and was like, oh, so Governor, what's your favorite beer? Oh, I really like a Guinness. I really like Guinness, and I'm not going to drink Bud Light anymore. Well, yeah, okay, I think that Bud Light's in the wrong for pushing transgenderism onto the public. Well, guess what? Guinness also, had an entire marketing campaign where
Did you clip that whole
they
thing?
had
That's good.
a TV commercial
Thank you for
marketing
that. I'm gonna
Guinness
save
beer.
that. Can I save that?
And it was a teenager at a Christmas
assuming that'll
celebration. You can
show
even
up
pull
on-
up the
on my
commercial too so
channel.
people can see it. Type in Guinness
I'll keep an eye on
transgender
it.
commercial. And it's about a
Oh, right.
grandfather who sees, right? I think
I remember
it's-
this one.
I think it's his grandson. And I guess the
grandfather
the
wears-
grandfather was like a secret cross-dresser
Oh, no,
and
that-
then realized
That's J&B whiskey.
yeah.
By the way, probably yell that sentence. Wait, what? I'll look at it later. I'm not gonna look at it while on stream. That feels way too flagellatory. I don't know what the word is.
Whatever it is.
Not
No, but it was
Guinness.
no,
I
but it
feel like
was a
jerking
Guinness. There
myself
was a
off
Guinness.
watching
there was
myself
a-
J&B
there
whiskey
was a-
commercial.
funnily to
No,
things.
but it was
Wait,
it
is
was
this
for
it? What are
Guinness.
we
If you
talking
type
about?
it in Guinness, it actually
Guinness?
had this issue as well.
Nova, you should
And
know about
so
this. If this is
Ron
Guinness, it's
DeSantis then
Irish.
goes
It's
on this whole
Irish.
tirade with Benny Johnson, and
For
he
the
said,
record, don't ask me to do an Irish accent. I can't do Irish accents. The only thing I can do is say the word Irish, kind of Irish sounding. That's it.
says, okay, well, I'm never going to drink a Bud Light ever again. And then 2 weeks later, what does he do? He has a fundraiser in Washington, D.C., and one of the
It tastes like shit.
co-sponsors of this fundraiser
I don't like
is a guy
beer,
named
so-
Slater Bayless,
It's-
who
so
is
we're-
one of the lobbyists for
Beetle Bailey?
Bud
What?
Light.
So just a
All right.
clarification. The J&B whiskey is,
Uh-huh.
I guess it's the parent company for Guinness.
yeah.
Right. So
And so he's saying,
so-
he's a-
so-
it's just,
so
it's
Rose-
just a
Rose
lot of
Guinness. Rag on Guinness.
So my point,
That's my
no, but it
favorite
goes
beer.
to show you they're just not that educated. If you're going to do
No, it's not that they're not educated. You idiot. You moron. You dumbass. It's not that they're uneducated. It's that they don't care, and there's no money in all of this stuff. Like, especially under capitalism, right? If you're Guinness, if you're Bud Light, if you're any of these beer companies, right? What good do you get out of now not being able to sell your beer to gay people? Like, really, you're cutting out what's the upside to this? It's not like if Bud Light never made that Dylan Mulvaney never partnered with them on Instagram or whatever. It's not like Backtown Hick number 89 or whatever is gonna buy an extra case for that. No, nothing's gonna happen. They're gonna buy beer at the same rate. They're trying to increase volume, and you do that by appealing to different groups that your product doesn't appeal to. This is really obvious stuff, but they think that it's like a conspiracy, that it's something that they're bought into ideologically. They're bought into the ideological underpinning of LGBT people have money and they spend it, and we would like them to spend their money on us. That's as far as the analysis needs to go. But for them, it's a whole nother game.
a boycott on something and you're going to take such a hardline stance and you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to be against Bud Light because they're pushing transgenderism. Actually, have the intellectual motivation to go investigate whether these other companies are pushing this. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And it just shows, how we deserve better as voters and as the American people. We deserve better than politicians.
We deserve better than Bud Light and Guinness. I mean, you do as voters. Well, some voters deserve better than Bud Light. Not all voters.
That are going to try to win our votes by saying that they're going to boycott Bud Light because they're against transgenderism, and then they're going to have a closed door, slimy DC fundraiser with the lobbyists of the manufacturer of the child castration drugs and the manufacturers of all these, all these Bud Light, for example.
I hear the left.
By the way, child castration, that's puberty blockers for people who are younger and obviously can't get surgery.
Making that same point, right? It's like, don't you know all these other brands do pride stuff, and you silly conservatives are just focused on Bud Light?
True.
I don't like that argument. It's like the beast is too big to.
I know you don't like that argument. Okay. Why is there a reason why Post Malone's weird unfamous cousin is on this show? Can I get an explanation, please? Excuse me, teacher Temple. Why is this weird fish face Post Malone without tattoos here? I don't like this. It's not. I don't like. Am I crazy? This dude looks like fucking Flounder from the goddamn. Yeah. Wait. No. I'm not off of this. I'm not getting off of this. Where is it from the new one too? Where is it? Fucking. Where was it? Flounder, Little Mermaid, 2023. Oh my God, this is uncanny. I won't. Where is it? No, give me. Oh my God. No. No, give me the one with the weird eyes. Oh, yes, perfect. Yes, this is what I wanted. Come on. Don't gaslight me here. Come on, look at that. That is the same fucking human right there. Oh my God, it's uncanny. Like, I could, if only I could drop the opacity on this, it would just mold onto his face. He looks like the fucking water guy from fucking Hellboy. Fucking water homeboy looking ass. Like, where is he? Where's I wish I remembered his name. Fish guy. It's terrible. I like Hellboy. It's a good movie. Abe, that's right. Actually, honestly, that might be a compliment. Abe's like jacked. Oh my God, I can't get a decently sized picture. There we go. Oh my God. Okay. Where's the fucking... This is such a waste of time. It's the eyes. Something about the eyes, man. It's just creepy. It gives me the heebs and the jeebs. I don't like it. Okay, we're moving on.
To stop, so you might as well just give up now. Right? Yeah, like you got to.
No, I'm not saying to give in. I'm saying that they need to be principled. And
oh, by the way, also the argument is not you guys are obsessed with Bud Light, but there's all these other companies. Why don't you care? The argument is that you only care in this one instance, and you're just using this as a single attack. Because this is the thing, right? They're like. Pride Month and Pride affiliated merchandise and the capitalization on Pride as a cultural like monthly event is pretty has spread pretty far and wide. And because conservatives can't really fight all of Pride, they have to pick one individual target. And they pick one target out of like 1,000. And they try to make that an example of their fury. And what everybody, and like the reason they do that is mainly just because they can't keep up with the rest of the like with the other like 999. They can't keep up with the rest of those. So they have to hyper focus on something like Bud Light and somewhere like Target. And they need to hyper focus and make it seem like their impact was like so far reaching that they are the ones who actually drive culture in America. They don't. They hardly affected Bud Light's overalls. If you go take a look at the stock price for the company, they're doing perfectly fine. I haven't looked at Target recently, but even Target, let's take a look. Let's take a look really, really quickly. Target stock. Let's take a look, shall we? Let's do. All right, so if we do 6 months, pretty much what we're gonna see is that drop off from their boycott. If we look at the last year, they've kind of been on a downward slope regardless. And if we look at the last 5 years, they're actually up from where they are. See, like, the health of a company is not all about the daily ups and downs. It's about trends. Now, right now, they're trending kind of in the middle, and you can see this, like, big drop. But this big drop happened in 2022, not 2023. So, like, and like, you know, you can kind of see, 2020 and the recovery from COVID-19, and like at the end of the day, they're gonna keep going up and they're gonna keep kind of steadying off because now Pride Month is over. Nobody talks about Target anymore. You know, it's just they don't drive culture, but they need to pretend, or at the very least, they need to like get out there that they do impact culture when they really don't. It's same with Oliver Anthony. They want to all do the like we're culturally relevant. If you have to say that, you're not culturally relevant. I'm sorry.
And then they waste all this time focusing on these. What's the point of people sitting down with Ron DeSantis and letting him bloviate about how he's against Bud Light when they're just going to let him have a pass because he's having these fundraisers, and they're not even morally consistent.
But I don't care about Ron DeSantis on this issue. My point is
that's my issue with
politics is downstream from culture.
What's it called?
And the left has known this for years. That's why they heavily invest in Hollywood and music. It's why
the left. Keep in mind, the left, the left totally invests in Hollywood. That's why there's a industry-wide strike from writers and actors right now. Totally, the left. I send my money to Hollywood every single month. Don't all leftists do that in the U.S.?
They ban.
We all pay our Hollywood dues.
You got this big song right now, "Rich Men North of Richmond."
I knew
the
it.
reason
I
it's
knew
big
it. I knew
is
it.
because regular people have the ability to share a song that resonates with them. What do we get from corporate mainstream media? This weird woke garbage nonsense. You get Kim Petras and you get Sam Smith doing Satanism on stage. Then you get a guy in Appalachia singing about how they're screwing over the little guy, and regular people can push that and make it go viral. Culture is what drives politics. If you make something culturally unacceptable, it just can't.
So I'm a bit. Can I not see them? Okay, so I'm a bit curious. So Tim Pool wants to talk about, these guys all. Yeah, I didn't do it today because I just don't really care. But Oliver Anthony made it on the Billboard Hot 100, and conservatives around the U.S. Lauded, for the first time, the Billboard Hot 100. Now, not to say that the Billboard Hot 100 isn't irrelevant, but I don't know, man. I just, I feel like, and this, this is my, I just kind of feel like if you want to see, where's US? If you really want to see, yeah, top 50 US, hit me with it. Let's take a look. We got Doja Cat. Oh, look at that. It actually is on there. Look at you. Number 2. That's not bad. Taylor, like an old ass song from Taylor Swift. Okay, I shouldn't say old ass. It's from, oh God, Lover. How long ago was this? Okay, wait a minute. Lover is before all of the re-releases and before Folklore and Evermore. Oh God. Yeah, Cruel Summer's like this came out like pre-pandemic. This is up there for some reason. Morgan Wallen, Olivia Rodrigo, the really shitty Bart Aqua thing or whatever, and more Olivia Rodrigo. And it's always like they've always got this like, oh, we can be popular, and they'll get their moment in the sun. Sure, almost certainly. They got a 1.4 million. Ooh, gotta make sure I don't accidentally play something lest I get copyrighted. It's just like, how long is Oliver Anthony gonna be, on the charts? And how much of him being on the charts is mostly astroturfed. Considering I have not been able to like go through YouTube without some conservative influencer, commentator, or otherwise, going and telling me I need to stream this song 200 times, or I'm not a patriot or whatever. It's very kind of obvious that they find that one thing and they're like, we need to be relevant, even though it's like, guys, it's one thing. You get one of 50. That's not a cultural shift on your part. I'm sorry, it's just not. If Taylor Swift fans could put her entire album on the Spotify top 50 for the United States, like that, it's just they want to be culturally relevant. They want to be influential, and unfortunately, they're just not.
Happened. And
I understand that. I understand that.
No normal person was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to abstain from Bud Light because
it's
that'll
not exactly culturally unacceptable because they're still engaging in it behind closed doors."
Yeah, they
right?
lost $400 million.
So you actually have to stick to it, and we just have lazy politicians and lazy people in our society that say, "Oh well, I'm just going to have a closed door fundraiser. I'm going to have a Bud Light." They don't even stick with it, and then we end up having
the only thing
egg
they're
on our
interested
face,
in
and
is
it's
money.
Well, that's why we call out Kid Rock for hypocrisy. Some people are saying it's a Pepsi can. No, I checked. Pepsi cans have vertical barcodes. I looked. That looks like a Bud Light can.
It's a Bud Light can. Let's stop. It's a Bud Light can.
I'm gonna say I can't really tell what that can is. Fine, fair point. But
it's a Bud Light can.
Bud Light has lost.
Do you think Kid Rock stopped drinking Bud Light? Kid Rock did not stop drinking Bud Light. He stopped drinking Bud Light for like a week and then was like, nah, fuck it, who cares?
$400 million. They've lost around 30. Anheuser, AB InBev has lost around 30%. I think their stock took a major hit. AB InBev was forced to sell off like 8 different craft beers. They have been hit so hard by this. It is to the point now where you've got corporations trying to pull back from all this crazy leftist garbage. Target, for instance, for the first time in 6 years, missed their quarterly projections and lost money. You've got.
Do you notice quarterly projections? Like, don't get me wrong. Certainly, in the quarter that Pride Month took place in, they were almost certainly going to what's the word I'm looking for? They were almost certainly going to see a reduction because there were people on the right wing going in and vandalizing stores, going in and harassing customers, going in and actually causing a bunch of damage. But that's kind of one of those. Well, yeah, when you commit when you commit a bit of retail terrorism, yeah, the victims of that are certainly going to lose money. But do you think Target is going to crumble as a company because of this? No, they're not.
Disney now facing a major backlash. Netflix, Disney, and a bunch of these streaming channels lost subscribers, and it's because they keep trying to push this insane.
They lost subscribers, even though if you know anything about Netflix and Disney coming up, they actually changed their, especially Netflix, they changed their password sharing policy. And because of that, they saw I think there was like a small reduction in subscriptions, but nothing actually too crazy. They pretty much recouped a lot of the people who were sharing passwords. But no, people aren't getting rid of Netflix because Netflix is woke. They're getting rid of it because they keep hiking their prices. And you're not really getting the same, like, Netflix used to be the thing you paid for to watch, The Office, X-Files, and a bunch, like a really wide range of network television. But now that all the networks have now gone on to create their own streaming services, Netflix isn't nearly as relevant, and they need to create their own content, which by the way is way more costly. So, that's where they've found those struggles. And creating content, obviously, means that you're going to put out shows that are successes, like Stranger Things. You're going to put out shows that are not successes, like, I don't know, a show I've never heard of because it was unsuccessful. But, like, that's kind of the game of making art and, TV shows. Some are good, some do well, some do poorly. Go look at any network. How many shows go in and out of a network any season? Because, somebody greenlit a show, it didn't do that well. Then they greenlit another show, it did all right. Then it greenlit a show, it did poorly. Then they greenlit a show, did really, really well. And the next show they did just okay. And the next one they did really shittily. And then the next one it's just, it's a game of audiences, I guess. It's just, you're never always going to catch the same people. So many things are competing for people's attention, especially in 2023.
woke leftism.
Yeah, and
The
I
fact that-
understand. I support the boycotts, but I think that at the end of the day, right, there's too many people who are given a free pass, right? Especially politicians who like to go on Fox News and have their 30-second talking points about these issues, and it's just something.
And fair point. I mean,
They're some of the loudest people about it, but then they're doing it themselves.
The politicians are grifters who are going to be like, "What's popular?" and just try and pretend that they're going to be on
Bud
board
Light
with
will
it.
give them
Like
money. Therefore,
DeSantis supporting
they will
Guinness after the fact, even though Guinness was
listen to
Bud
their
Light also, and I'm here to talk
lobbying
about Ron DeSantis, right, which is why I brought up Ron DeSantis and Bud Light. But yeah, I wanted to
Is
make
Laura
people
Loomer
aware
like
of that.
against?
That's how you're going to capture Gen Z too, is talking about this cultural stuff, right?
Keep in mind, Gen Z, not very conservative.
I mean, that's what the kids care about. They don't care about the nitty gritty and how deep these issues go. They like the funny picture of Kid Rock.
No, well, no, I would actually strongly disagree. You know, I have some younger people that have like come through the stream and have talked to a little bit. Most of them, when they are younger, are really politically tuned into stuff. I give them credit. A lot more politically what's it called? God, even this pause screen isn't much better either. I'm just gonna do this while I'm just putting my hand up in front of this. But like a lot of the younger like people that I interact with even on here on Twitch, like, you know, I had like a caller who was on the younger end of things. Like, they're pretty politically tuned in. They're not always, they don't, I think, always have like a perfect, like, you know, understanding of everything, but nobody really does. But they're a lot farther ahead of me when I was their age. So they don't.
Holding a Bud Light after he just posted a video a few months earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think,
we got to play the
I think
game.
young people actually care about issues. You know, like there's a lot of young people that would really like to be able to have families and own a home, and they're finding it unaffordable right now to own a home in
families
America.
And owning a home, that's fucking woke.
Candidate that is actually talking about Generation Z and millennials being able to have affordable homes and being able to have affordable housing is Donald Trump. He's the only.
Can somebody please show me where Donald Trump talks about affordable housing? Just once. I just want one. Just one Gen Z centric Trump quote something.
Only one. He's the only one who's actually talking about it and talking about his plan for, what does he call it? Freedom cities, I believe, right? Isn't that what he calls it?
Oh, God.
His freedom cities, so that young people in America can also experience the American dream. I don't like this idea that, oh, it's just young people consumed with TikTok and culture. There's a lot of young people that care about the economy. That
over under on whether a freedom city is just a company town. Like, it can't be government housing because they don't like government housing. Like so it can't be that. So what's the only alternative? The only alternative would be company towns.
That care about the fact that by 2045, you know that Generation Z is the last generation in this country that's going to be majority white. We're not going to have a majority white America anymore.
Who cares?
So
why does that matter? Nobody's gonna ask this question, but like I'll be the one. Why does that matter? Why does America have to be majority white? Are white people just better? Is that the answer, Laura Loomer? We know what the answer. We know what the answer is.
What I'm saying is that
we were talking about generational wealth, and now it's about race. Like, oh wow, I wonder.
You know, we are being.
What is the race that the people have to do with?
Hey, look at that! Look at man. Well, goddamn. Look at that boy here. That boy here gonna push back a little bit. Okay.
Well, what I'm talking about is that we're being replaced, right? So people have talked about replacement theory, and they've talked about the fact that we've been invaded. We've had an immigration invasion.
You mean like Ukraine was invaded by Russia, or is this like one of those non-invasion invasions?
To our country that is changing our culture. So you're saying that politics is downstream from culture.
I will say every time, every time me and my white girlfriend have kids, I am going to internally think of it as a soft invasion of the country.
but nobody seems to care about the
Race and
fact that
replacement theory.
immigration is fundamentally transforming the traditional culture of our country.
Right,
and there's young people that care about that.
We
Not
need
all
like a
young
fun
people are
banner. When the cycle ends, it's just like a American conservatism. Let's go. We are driving towards white replacements.
The racial component.
We've lost our culture.
Right. So the racial component I don't see as mattering. Thanks for watching this clip from.
Oh man! And keep in mind, these are the people that Tim Pool has on his show. He doesn't really have leftists very often. He has clowns like Laura Loomer, who I haven't even heard about in like a really long time. Shockingly, like it's kind of funny how often I haven't heard about her. Like I remember her name maybe back in like 2018, 2017, but not as much recently. All right. What time is it? Yeah, it's like 10:02. All right. We now come to the worst part of the show. The part everyone fears. Run from it, fear it. All roads lead back to this, unfortunately. It is late. People got to sleep in this household, so I must depart. Thursday. Okay, so So Thursday, I have to go in for a opening shift that I normally don't go into. So I don't know if I'm going to have as much time to prep. So what we might do, what I'm thinking on Thursday is we might do a bit of a condensed show, because I'm trying to think, because what, I go in tomorrow. Yeah. So Thursday normally I wouldn't have a shift, but I do have to go and open that day. So I'm probably going to be a bit tired. So this is what I'm thinking. We'll do a bit of a condensed show, and I want to play a little bit of a video game. It's called Democracy 4. It's the 4th installment of a sim series called Democracy. I played a little bit of it in the tutorial. I found it to be pretty fun. In the kind of brain broken way where I find politics to be fun. I'm one of those people, unfortunately. So I'm thinking we'll just kind of hang out, play a little bit of that. Let's see it in here about recently. Maybe we can watch. Maybe we can look into. Maybe if he makes content, we can watch a Ben Scallon video. I have no idea who he is, but we'll kind of take it easy. I'll try and find a few small things that we can react to, but otherwise we'll just hang out, play a democracy sim, create the world that we leftists truly want to create, but unfortunately only in a video game and in our heads. But until then, until we make that a reality, this is going to be the end for me for tonight. Anybody who's lurking in chat, I see you. You should hit the follow button. And I see you over in YouTube chat, too. Don't think I don't see you over there. Hit the subscribe button, goddammit. Helps out the channel, helps me out, helps out everything. I don't know, go watch some of the videos. There's YouTube videos that go out of the segments, catch some of the stuff from older streams. I don't know, like the stream, do all the things, all the stuff that when you watch content like this and you think to yourself, should I, am I going to like the stream? Am I going to do all of that? I'll kind of think about it. No. Do that now, at this moment, because I'm getting off for the night. So everyone have a lovely night. I'll see you all Thursday for chill ass video game stuff. Ooh, I should check to see if I can send you guys to anybody. Is anybody on? Is Xanderhall still on? Sure. In an attempt to, in my fleeting attempt to socialize with other, what's it called? I'm gonna send you all to Xanderhall, because he's the only leftist on Twitch that's actually, I think, streaming right now. So we'll do that. But either way, I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
Sussis, actually, is his name, right? King Sussis.